Welcome, everyone, to the Anime Sovereigns podcast. This is episode number 14, and unlike last week, we actually have everyone this time around. You'll notice we're here at a different time. We're not on Sunday, and it's not in the middle of the day. It's actually quite late for probably some of you if you have work or school in the morning, but there's been a lot of shit going on in the anime community, in the sphere, if you will. And some of the stuff is pretty interesting, and other stuff is downright hilarious, and so we figured we'd do another week of kind of bringing you guys current events and keep you guys updated on what's been going on. And an interesting starting point with everything is that we're actually bringing you news about news, because Kadokawa is like metagaming already. So Kadokawa acquires Anime News Network, and like this is that was kind of random. Like I don't. It's like
it is hella random, but like just a little bit of an overview of like the parties involved in this like transaction and like why like this is like significant to people like us in particular who want to keep up with like a lot of like anime industry related news. So like Kadokawa is like a very like long established like media conglomerate in Japan, like, and I'm just gonna like say that right. Like their reputation is kind of questionable.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna speak on like every like controversy that they've been like the center of like over the years, because like I haven't been like involved in like anime related news like dating back that long.
Mm-hmm.
But there are stories of like them just like mistreating workers and also like misrepresenting like some information like regarding like their company just to make them look more trustworthy and reputable in general.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's one thing for certain, like there is a recent controversy that's currently going on right now involving like a bribery scandal with the chairman,
Mm-hmm.
which to summarize it involves like advertising like in the Olympics as like a main sponsor that was colluded with people behind the scenes in order to make this happen, and they're currently being sued for that, and the chairman is being forced to retire. So Kadokawa not in a good light right now, which makes this transaction like even more questionable, because Anime News Network, if you don't know, is like also like a pretty like long-standing like anime news outlet geared towards like English-speaking countries. So like they're made of like independent journalists that have a goal of representing like the truth about like a lot of like Japanese media, which ranges from like anime to manga to light novels and just anything like involving like otaku culture that's like important to us. But they're like are a pretty like reliable source of news over the years. Like we use a lot of their articles to like keep up to date with things like going on in the anime industry, like regarding certain shows, certain people. And now we have like this news, like this dropped at the beginning of the month, like on November 1st, and the details of the transaction, like they want to like frame it in a positive light, because like this is like the statement from Anime News Network regarding the transaction. They say that they agreed to this mainly due to like the benefits they get from like with their digital and like physical products. So like mainly like the manga and the light novels and the printed products. They say that they get the most benefits from this transaction. And the current president of Anime News Network, Christopher McDonald, is like moving into like a new position in a new subsidiary of Kadokawa called Kadokawa like World Entertainment, which is mainly going to be like an English subsidiary. So which is in line with like what Anime News Network has strived to be over the years, just reaching out to English speaking audiences.
There's
and
just like, okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was saying like most of the time like acquisitions like this, like just in business in general, not even just anime, kind of cause for alarm in a lot of ways, because a lot of the time when things like this happen, it kind of means that the core staff or the core group of people who worked to make the platform what it is, in this case Anime News Network, maybe don't see it going anywhere, or just kind of want to part ways and start on new things. But in this situation, at the very least, the president, I do believe, is staying on. Like, he's staying involved with it, even though he's moving positions. But That at least is like some type of silver lining. And I think a silver lining is kind of needed because Kadokawa, they be fucking around. So like,
yeah, like just to add on to like the retaining like employees thing, like they have like contractually guaranteed that like the staff like at Anime News Network like will be kept. They say like completely, but like we're never sure of that.
Well, yeah.
And another thing is that they said that they're like contractually like obligated to like retain like the editorial independence of Anime News Network, and like that's important because the first thing that a lot of people like thought of when they saw this news was that Anime News Network is no longer going to be a trustworthy source of news regarding the anime industry. And that is like warranted because of what we said about like Kadokawa and just in general, like this is like conflict of interest type of transaction, because you would think that like a large like media conglomerate and like basically just a corporate giant in Japan is essentially like buying out like one of their like competitors or like one of the groups that like would want to like speak the truth that Kadokawa was never like willing to speak over the years. And so like this seems like an effort to like lessen the negative media that may come out against corporations like Kadokawa. And that's up to you to like interpret and because like everything like regarding the transaction and what will come from it is speculation, but this is just like what we are thinking right now.
Hopefully things don't change too much. I don't know how crazy of a hope that is, given the circumstances. But unfortunately, we're in the position where all we can really do is hope that things don't change too much over there for them, and they can continue to deliver the the consistent, reliable articles that we've come to know and love, really, because like they put in a lot of work. Like it's really important, especially for the English speaking side of things, right? Because there's not really a lot of places where you can just go as an English speaker to just like get news on not just like anime itself, but sometimes they even talk about like more topics that you wouldn't normally read up on. Like a lot of these a lot of places that cover anime are only talking about like the shows themselves. Like they might tell you about an episode update, or maybe every now and then you'll get like a staff, something about a staff changing or moving project or something like that. But these guys talk about the companies and how anime fits into the ecosystem in Japan in general, which is really important, and stuff that you really just like would not be able to read anywhere else. So I do think they're like kind of irreplaceable in that regard. So I'd really hate to see the product tarnished after we've come to rely on them this long. So hopefully things don't get too ugly over there. I hope I don't read an article about them down the line.
Man, I'm stuck in. Where are we supposed to go? Kotaku?
Like what the fuck? Like, what are we talking about here, bro?
No, bro, anything.
Like, someone just changed their name to Kotaku on Twitter and buy the Twitter Blue verification. And
of course,
you're the new Kotaku.
That's a whole other story.
Yeah, the new Kotaku, bro. It really be like that.
Personally, like I want to like remain optimistic that like what they said about like retaining like the integrity of Anime News Network like is going to be true, and I'll like keep up like with the articles that I find interesting to see if I notice like any like changes in how they're writing them, because like I do want like their like editorial independence to like be like upheld.
That's true.
And
I kind of wonder about the incentives for Kadokawa's own works, because I'd imagine that they're not gonna just stop doing general anime news stuff, but I mean, I wonder
stuff
like
more?
like is there going to be some sort of deeper incentive here that we can't really see, or like just something soft, even like if they're being offered all of the Kadokawa like stuff for free to like review and whatnot, then I mean, I don't know, like
the things that like the things that Kadokawa is getting out of this is that like they wanted access to like the software that Anime News Network has. That's like what they cited as like their main incentive and like what they get out of this transaction. Whereas like Anime News Network obviously gets like access to like the clout, for lack of a better word, of like Kadokawa, like the power, and also
the name brand.
Yeah, and also like what I said about like their printed works. So like like the manga and light novel stuff.
I think like Kadokawa's like probably main thing is to get like in like this Western space thing. It's like, hey, look, this is a news network that appeals to like the Western audience, and we are a big company that want to get even bigger. So
oh yeah,
what if we
for
just
sure.
branch out?
Yeah.
I think
So-
like being relatively positive, it's like, I mean, it like sounds grimy, but I think they might just kind of be trying to dip their toes into like this thing and expanding, and probably could let them just kind of operate like business as usual. But you know, obviously they can't shit talk them.
Yeah,
That's not gonna happen.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, I need you to not say that. I need you to.
Hey, it's in the contract that you said that you would let me like say what I want to say as long as like I can like be like reputable and I can like cite my sources and shit.
Yeah.
I think like the most likely bias that I could probably tell is just the sheer volume of articles that come out about. I mean, obviously, Kadokawa, like they technically own like a lot of anime,
Yeah,
so
a
it might not
lot,
even
yeah.
be. It might not even be like a really like tangible difference. But I mean, I would imagine that the most likely change would be the ratio of Kadokawa like anime that gets talked about is just going to be more than before. But I mean, I don't know. We don't know how hands-on or hands-off they're going to be, especially if this is just a new division
Yeah.
of their company. So I
Definitely
mean,
a wait
we'll
and
have to
see
see.
type of thing for us, as much as we can
Yeah.
do. So
Yeah,
Okay.
again, I remain optimistic, mainly because like recently like anime news has like had a greater importance since like we started this segment, and Anime News Network has always been like the go-to if like there's an article that's like worth talking about, and we want to continue to like feature them as long as like their content remains like as it is like right now.
yeah, we're about to be the sovereign news network. We're taking over, bro. You can't handle it anymore. It'd be like that, but
Bobby,
okay.
I'm gonna need you to become the main translator for everything.
Imagine.
My God.
Dance yourselves, they're back.
Oh
Joseph
god.
Janai, Joseph Janai,
Bobby's
Joseph Janai.
Here we go.
It's gonna be
Bobby's
boring.
first
Joseph.
grade level Japanese is gonna translate everything.
Oh
Yes.
god. All right, our second topic of the day, we got some stuff about Sword Art Online. So
Yes.
Sword Art Online, 10th anniversary coming up, which is like, wow, bro, 10 years.
Well,
Like,
we
definitely
old.
already happened.
yeah,
We
yeah,
old,
like,
basically.
Yeah, like, I can hear my back cracking, bro. Oh god, 10 years.
Dude, I watched this weekly, like literally yesterday. What are you talking about? 10 years.
True. Truers.
Yeah.
SAO was like one of the first shows I watched weekly, like somewhere in that first like ballpark.
I actually didn't watch it weekly. I remember binging it after getting recommended it by a friend in high school.
Yeah,
but
like,
it was-
Who recommended it to you?
yeah, it was. I mean,
names.
I mean, you wouldn't know her. You wouldn't know her.
Anyways, so I think this is important to talk about because like SAO is a series that is despite like what opinions you may have about the franchise in general, I think there's like little doubt that this is like a culturally like significant franchise for getting like people like into anime and like being like one of the shows that like really like broke into like the mainstream appeal for people who didn't watch anime back then. And like we're talking about like 2012, like when this was when this like started airing and started to become like a really like prominent franchise within the anime space. And to see it like celebrate its 10th anniversary is like I think it's like an opportunity to like look back a little, because like man, like it is like very important to like see like how like anime has changed over the years, and also like what changes like came from like series like this and another series that we might be talking about later.
Yeah.
That broke these like mainstream conventions and made anime cool to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, man, it's like one of those things. It's like one of those situations where, a show, independent of like what you think of its quality, especially narratively, it can be like a genre definer, or in this case, I think SAO is more of like a genre creator in a way. Not that it was the first isekai ever, but like, man, it feels like it was the starting point for so many fucking shows. Like, there's so many shows that I've watched that would not exist without the show.
For better or for worse.
Yeah,
just a
yeah,
blatant
like-
gamification
Yeah.
of like other isekai that exist. I mean, obviously the MMO thing has been done before,
yeah,
but like I think the implementation that Sword Art Online had set up, the foundation it created, it was so obviously copy pasted from them to
Mhm.
everything else.
yes.
And it's ridiculous to the point of like, it got to the point where isekai aren't even about video games. You just assume that the isekai have video game mechanics now, just
Yeah.
because.
No,
Like,
that's facts. That's
It's
definitely
absurd.
facts.
Like,
Yeah.
this is definitely,
And a lot of them do.
extremely
It's like that's not
influential
even a bad assumption because a lot of them actually just do have, you know, whether that's a level up system or experience or, you know, stuff like that, like class system and
It could
whatnot.
even,
So.
it could even be just like the main protagonist like is a gamer or is into
Yeah, like-
otaku culture
Yeah.
like that.
Hey, you guys
Like,
watch?
It just kind of popularized like gaming in anime as like a whole thing. I feel like,
Yeah.
That's an interesting topic. Yeah.
but like you think about like isekais, and sure, there's that stuff, but there's like other animes where like they play VR headset games, and
Mhm.
like a lot of it takes place in like an RPG, like what is it?
It's like a
Like,
fantasy style world, you know?
Yeah, why can I not remember the title?
MMO.
Yeah, Junkie. Yeah, MMO Junkie.
Recovery
Right?
MMO Junkie.
You know, like it's not an isekai, but like a lot of
Yeah,
the game
yeah.
or a lot of the show takes place inside like a fantasy game,
Yeah.
or
I see what you mean. I see what you're getting at there.
And
Yeah, it-
also, other than that, like I think like just the way SAO like looks and sounds had a pretty massive impact on like, a bunch
Yeah,
of recent stuff.
Absolutely.
I was
It's like
gonna
one of the
comment on that
original-
next, yeah.
It's like one of the original like, oh my god, this looks and sounds like fucking crazy and just like super
Yeah.
pretty and like being like colorful and bright, and then it's like just I feel like just everything it like set this pretty crazy bar that's like everything looks and sounds really good right now. Well, not everything, but you know, like a lot of stuff like way more common.
Yeah,
Yeah,
people probably like first heard the term like Sakuga from shows like SAO, you know?
Yeah. It's like I think like to this day, like SAO is like one of the clearest definitions of like a gateway anime to me.
For sure.
Just because like it's not a show that I would recommend to someone that has seen 100 days, 200 days worth of shows like us, just because you know, you're gonna watch it and you're gonna notice where the narrative and the characters kind of fall apart, and it might not be that enjoyable to you. But I think like for someone that is getting into the medium and doesn't really have a ton of experience with what it has to offer, it's a very easy show to watch. It's very easy to understand. It's very pretty and it sounds good, as we talked about before. And so it still like has a place, I think, amongst everything, even 10 years later. Because
Also,
it is.
had like
Yeah.
had like
Like
cool
it-
premise. So it's like it kind of like introduces people to like, oh wow, anime can have these like wonky. Well, this is like a wonky premise, but it's like a cool one.
I
And
think it's
then-
like a widely like appealing premise, like if we're gonna talk about that, because like it's not like hard to like tell like why like this show is appealing to a lot of people, is because there's a lot of like overlap between people who like video games and people who like anime.
Absolutely.
And you know, a show that like focuses on like, you know, futuristic like VR stuff that like you can imagine like being real like years into the future. Like
Yeah.
it was like a match made in heaven for like one, like the premise, and like two, like, you know, what we've talked about, like, you know, the audio visual strengths of this franchise. Like,
Yeah.
And we're not gonna like undersell that like it still holds up today. Like you could probably like watch like SAO like 10 years later, and like this is like how much like it set the standards for this is what a show needs to look like if you want to say like your show like looks good.
Yeah.
You know, as a baseline. And like that's like probably like the thing it shook up the most, is that like, yeah, like it looks and sounds amazing, and just showing like people like clips from the show like would probably just make them want to watch it, you know?
Yeah.
If you want to if you want to cast like a
nice.
wide blanket, it has to look like as good or better as SAO, which is like pretty hard.
Yeah.
I mean, animation industry is caught up, so
That's true.
I don't
Yeah.
think I don't think it's hard to like get something as good animation wise, but
Yeah, it has
sound
to be like,
wise, it might be might be hard to top.
Yeah.
Definitely, the industry's been getting better as the years go on.
Yeah,
I
for
do
sure.
think that SAO obviously though is still very, very solid, regardless of I
So-
mean, back in 2012, 2012, it was extremely impressive 2012 standards. Now it's just pretty good.
It's
Yeah.
the bar. it's like
Yeah,
everything.
it is.
It has to be this or better.
That's what I mean by
Yeah,
like
which
it'll
is-
always have its place, like no matter where like advancement
Yeah, I mean,
goes.
regardless of whether or not it's one of the best, that's absolutely one of the biggest.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Like
Wildly popular show.
yeah,
Fucking crazy.
yeah, bringing this conversation back to like today, like we're celebrating like the 10th anniversary of the franchise like starting in anime form. And it was a really like big celebration. Like it was like they held like a live event called like SAO like Full Dive, which you're seeing on screen right now. It was an event with the creators, like the staff members on the anime, like the artists who work on the anime. Like we could see like some of our favorites like Riona and Yuki Kajira were at the event, and they're like Riona's like one of the more like modern
Her
additions
presence
to
just
she's
the
out here,
exploded.
Nah, she's out here,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, like SAO
One
is,
SAO
like,
song
SAO
and you're in.
she's out here, bro.
SAO is like where Riona like got her like footing, like she like obviously like did some of the songs for like Alicization, but like she also like was character, like she voiced a character like in SAO like Gun Gale Online like Alternative or whatever it was called, which was a pretty funny spin-off, I'm not gonna lie. And we love Riona now, and like this is like her beginnings, and like her being here is like a testament to like how much she like respects like her first like really really big opportunities with this franchise.
For sure.
And yeah, like if you were a fan of the series and like you were either at or watched this event, like you were eating, like and I feel very good for the fans, because like love and passion for the series was in the air for sure. Like they had like like video tributes, they had like musical performances. There was like a thing that they did for like the AI character that was in like Ordinal Skill, who's like voice actor like tragically passed away in a freak accident, which I'm sure a lot of people were like very like happy that she was like respected at this event. But it was a good time. And moving on to like the next part of this is that SAO is getting a new theatrical project. Like this was revealed at like the climax at the event, and I don't think anybody saw it coming. Like because like SAO is still going on today. Like Alicization was like still like being made like just like a few months ago or something, and like the progressive movies are still like to be released here in America. We still need to see them, but like the franchise is still making content.
Yeah.
And now we get this, which
So
big surprise for everybody.
Look, see real quick.
Yeah.
その城にはいくつもの階層があって、その層一つ一つに町や森や草原が広がっている。長い階段で層を一つ一つ登っていくと、てっぺんには宮殿があって、
そこに誰がいるの？
わからないんだ。
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah,
That's
like
cool.
there you have it.
I
Like
love
Full
nice.
dive.
as
Interesting.
SAO fans are eating, and
Yeah.
you know, I'm not saying this like with any like sarcasm. I do feel happy for people who like still like love this franchise. Like if you're like an anime fan who like got into anime because of this series and you still feel like that nostalgia for it, like, you know, I completely understand. Like, and that's why I say, like, even though that like I may have my opinions about the franchise as a whole, it's still a very culturally significant series that, you know, still has its place today, 10 years later.
Yeah, it's so culturally significant that this is something I'm adding in, which is actually completely ridiculous. I saw this recently where the Oculus founder claimed to make a VR headset that can actually
Oh
play
yeah,
the game.
I'm ready to die.
Which
I'm
was
so ready to die. I'm ready to die.
Oh no!
I'll let my man's Biggie Papa
Like
ready to
this.
die.
I just
Biggie
like
Smalls.
I don't like what like
Why would you even want
yeah, that's what
to
I'm
have
saying.
this
Like
be a
I don't
news
even know
article?
why you would what I don't know. I don't know. Obviously this will never actually happen because like obviously this would be very illegal. They would never let this rock. But
Very little unethical, I'd say.
it's a little bit, just a tiny bit. But like, why would you even like what? but like, why even? If he did actually make it, because like, a part of me is still like he's just saying this just to fuck around with people. But like, come on, man. My man's a fan, bro. He's a big fan. Be like,
Who was the target demographic for this?
Me?
I don't
Okay.
know.
Say no, bro, no.
Me?
Okay. All right. All right.
I would like to die.
Okay, brother. This is actually insane, but I had to add that in there because that shit was bad funny. I was like,
It is funny because like I don't know if you've like saw like the IRL like SAO account, but like, you know, like 2022 like was like the year that like SAO was like supposed to release like in the SAO universe.
Yeah.
And like this is like kind of like bringing it like full circle. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy how many like of these like things line up, you know, like 10th anniversary of like the series itself, and also like in the in anime universe, like that's how it's supposed to be. And
Yeah.
so like I think they just did that to like, you know, not be faithful, but to like be like, you know, a little comical, you know, just
Yeah.
like, wow,
Yeah.
like we actually are like upholding like what we said we were gonna do, that type of thing.
True. So moving on to our next topic, which we're going from one culturally impactful anime to the next. This one's gonna be about Attack on Titan.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I just gotta sigh real quick. Sorry. Like,
Lay side.
we got-
Right.
What? Aren't you excited for all the discourse?
Bro, fuck off, bro. So we get a new visual.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I am already mad, right? I'm mad looking at this article because like the whole point of it is like this is the visual for part 3, right? Part 3 of the final season, which I think their naming convention is completely dog shit, and they whoever like I fucking hate the way that they've done the naming for this series. I think they're literally just baiting people, to be honest, but you know, it is what it is. You get a cool image.
The reason we were talking about this because like we normally like wouldn't like talk about like, you know, something that we knew was like gonna happen, but like the Attack on Titan like recently like held like a special event like regarding the final season that like featured like the voice actors and everything, and it like they tried to make it like a big deal, but really like all they revealed was this new key visual that we have, which I'll be a little honest, looks kind of ugly.
It'd be like that.
The characters are like upside down, like barely like see like Aaron
it's
and
pretty
Titan
hard
form
to
in the
make
back.
out
I'm like,
everything.
what am I looking at? Like
a lot of
I'd
visual
rather, like,
noise going on. Like
I'd rather like have the other one, but like, you know, that's besides the point. But another thing, and like forgive me if because like I don't know like how reputable of information this is, but like they confirmed that this was going to be like the last like part of the anime adaptation that would
this is
might be
an
lying.
interesting one. So because like there's a lot of different reasons that this is interesting. The first reason being like I don't know, I'm sure you guys remember how much of a shitstorm that there was around Titan because of the way its ending was written. I think it was.
Oh, absolutely.
There was
Yeah,
a lot of controversy that I don't know about.
Yeah,
I think
The ending.
Dylan only knows about it, but Dylan didn't even read it. He just knows.
I do
Okay.
not know what the ending is. All I know is that very, very, very polarizing.
yeah,
Yeah, it
okay.
was very divisive.
And
for
so
sure.
like one, like having it being someone who's anime only, I've not read the manga for this. I don't know how reliable this is, that this is actually the very last season, because like there's a lot of things to talk about here. First, like if it is the very last season, I don't know how far away it is from the actual written ending, and so I don't know how long it will be. It is one thing, because I think Titan has done some shorter seasons. They started with like 25, but ever since, I think all of them have been shorter, if I remember correctly, right? I don't think they've ever done.
The
Season
first
three
part
was,
was
like,
like 16
right?
episodes, and
Okay.
like this one, the part 2 was like I think at least 20 to my memory.
Okay.
So they're flexible with like how long they can make it,
Mhm.
and like that makes me think that if they think that this is going to be like the final installment, then maybe we should take their word for it. But we were kind of expecting like this and maybe like a movie. I don't know. But
Yeah.
Unless this is the final installment of the TV
Oh
series,
my
in which
God,
case we
fuck
end
off!
with the move.
Oh
I
my
thought-
god!
I've been saying there's gonna be a movie for a while. Like I just was pretty confident they were gonna do it.
I think-
Final season part 2 was 12, by the way. But the first
Two,
part
okay,
1
it
was
was last.
Oh
so
my
last part was
God, my
12.
memory.
What about before that? Part 1?
16.
Part
It
one
was
was
definitely
16.
16.
yeah, that's
16. Okay.
but
Yeah,
like
so-
also season 3 part 2 was 10.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They've done some shorter ones along the way. I don't, of course, without having read the source material, it's hard for me to make a prediction on how long this will be, or even if this is true in general. This could just be a lie after all, right? Like, this could just be like we could end up having a part 4 or a part 5 or whatever, because the unfortunate reality is that like shows like this are huge money makers, right? And so there is some incentive to drag it out as long as possible, because you're gonna bank on it every single time. So I don't really know where this will end up. Titan for me is like a show that is just okay, like in my eyes, like it's solid. I'm not jumping out of my chair to see the new season of Titan. Like I will definitely watch it week to week, but it's not
It was
something I
more
can't
fun.
live without. Okay.
It was more fun to talk about
Mhm.
when it was like heating up
Yeah.
than the actual like conclusion that we got.
climax,
Well, not
yeah.
conclusion, because we didn't get a conclusion.
I know what you
Revelation.
mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Because like, the theory crafting was fun, I guess.
That's true. I mean, another thing is, right, like the format or the layout of the anime industry has also changed a lot since it first started. And so like the possibility, like we're talking about like movie adaptation, like I think that's something that's very on the table for sure. Because there's no way that the people who made Titan are not looking at Mugen Train, not looking at One Piece Red. They're not looking at these, these huge anime film projects that just absolutely crush the box office. And Titan, it is one of the most popular series on the planet. And so like if it has a movie, it's gonna crush it, like no matter what, like regardless of what you think of the series.
That is a
it's
good
gonna,
point.
yeah. So I'm not sure if they will be really ready to end it abruptly like that. I just don't know. I've been kind of lukewarm on the last season personally, so it's like I just kind of gotta wait and see, I guess. But it's just
like-
out there. It's like
Part of me thinks that there's like some truth to like this like being like the final installment, because like I said, they had a special event like dedicated to like
Mhm.
this announcement, which I don't think they've done for like the other parts of this franchise thus far.
Yeah, that's right.
But like you said, this is like one of like the biggest like things to like come out of Shonen Jump like to date, and not making a movie out of it in some capacity would be like a missed opportunity, like both like artistically for how much art goes into the series, but mainly financially is what we're talking about.
Well, yeah, 100%. Like it really just be like that. But I will say, Titan, just like SAO, is like one of those super culturally significant shows that kind of took mainstream by storm. Like everyone knows about Titan at this point.
Yeah,
and
like,
so
if-
like, good.
Oh, if SAO like didn't get you on board in like 2012 to like watch anime if you didn't watch anime already, Attack on Titan probably did the job for you. Like, I remember like when Attack on Titan like first like dropped in anime form in 2013. Like I could like viscerally feel it. Everybody was talking about it. Like my friends who are into anime were talking about it. My friends who are not into anime were talking about it. And I'm like, okay, I guess I gotta check it out now. And for what it was, like, and like we've said this like before on the cast, but like back then it was probably like the best looking thing that had ever happened in the medium.
Yeah.
I was the friend back then showing people who weren't into anime, getting them into anime.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
This was like the first season of Attack on Titan was like, Wit's foray into anime. Like it's what put them on the map, and it's like what perpetuated like their popularity like into like their where they are now. People like still like know Wit for the studio that did Attack on Titan back in the day. And their standards have definitely gone up, but like man, like back then it was like completely groundbreaking. Nobody had ever seen anything like it, and that in and of itself was like reason to like watch it. But it was also like a very like good show for like conversation, back when we didn't know everything.
Yeah,
and that word of mouth like regarding like the narrative like really like propelled the series like into everyone's mind. Like you were exposed to the show in like one way or another. Like you could not avoid it if you were like there are very few places you could go to where you wouldn't hear about this show.
Yeah, and I think it was also like at least in like the modern anime age, like one of the ones to do like the whole like shock factor thing too, right? Like I think a lot of people when they watched Titan, like they probably were taken aback by just how graphic it could get.
They had an episode 1 that got people talking.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. They probably didn't expect for things to go that way. And we've seen a lot of shows since then try to emulate that same charm, and some of them fall completely flat. But yeah, Titan definitely has its place. Hopefully it doesn't suck. That's
yeah.
Damn, the MC died. They don't know what happened to Goku, dog.
Yeah, like by the time like final season part 3 comes out, the series in anime form will be 10 years old, which is crazy to think about because of everything that we said about it and how much it like changed like the landscape of anime, and like its influence is still like present today. Like things like look and sound like amazing now, and like it's hard to like watch some things that like don't have like this fidelity for some people, which I think is like missing the point on some things. But like I can like understand like if you like came onto anime and like this was like one of like your first anime, that you would think you would have a very high standards for like the audiovisual aspects that the medium is capable of.
I definitely think that the best thing that the best thing that this show did was give us Wit 100%. Like that was, like I am confident in saying that I will fight someone on this, but like Wit is a studio that now in 2022 to me is an auto watch studio, right? And so like their place in my heart is very valuable. And I don't think they could have gotten to that point if they didn't discover themselves with Titan. I think they handled Titan very well, but it was really after they decided to leave Titan behind where we really started to see them like come out of their shell and whatnot. I don't think they would have gotten that opportunity if they didn't have the money and the opportunity created, offered to them through doing Titan. So I'm definitely very grateful. For sure. I'm very grateful to this show, regardless of what I necessarily think about its writing.
Yeah.
Fuck Aaron, he sucks. Anyway, moving on.
you know what? If the ending is going to be as bad as like people like treated it, like then maybe it was a good thing that Wit got off of the project.
True. That's facts. I do like that.
We did the parts that everybody like cared about, like the heating up parts that Miguel mentioned, and then like once it reached a turning point, they're like, we're out.
That's facts. Okay, moving on. So this one kind of goes a little bit back to what we were talking about before with SAO, but CR putting the Eurocamp movie and the SAO movie it's soon, right?
Let's go.
That's like incredible. Actually, I did not expect this. Like,
and a Psychopath movie apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, like
Yep.
this is like
Yeah. Yep.
No,
Yep.
Bobby,
we're talking about
Bobby.
shows. We're talking about shows that are still going on. How is that one still going on?
Yep.
Psychopath
Oh.
is already over. I don't know what you're
Yeah,
talking
Reaction
that's,
to
about.
Bobby
film
was priceless, bro.
Yep.
Holy
Just
shit.
Bobby's. Yep.
It has a
Still
film
going.
trilogy. They're making 3 movies,
no, they're
Wait,
the
what?
first two.
or are the
What?
first 2 already out? Maybe.
Yeah.
I
What,
definitely
for-
read film trilogy somewhere.
For SAO Progressive or
No, Psychopaths.
I think it's one movie.
Is it? Oh, okay.
Where did I read film trilogy somewhere? Yeah, whatever.
Anyway,
so-
I think you're
so,
trying.
like-
I think you're trying to raise Bobby's blood pressure. Is what you're
What are you
doing.
talking about? Don't lie to me.
So, right. So this is important for a few different reasons. If you've been watching anime for any amount of time, you would know that the dynamic behind like what you have to do in order to watch film content is really annoying, because like one of two things will happen. Either it takes
no, it's
forever,
really-
it takes like fucking forever for you to actually like get it, for there to be like translation and localization so you can actually watch it. Or sometimes you just don't get it at all. Sometimes you just don't get it. And other
mean,
times you like it shows in theaters, but it's like one theater on a Wednesday while you're at work or in school.
Yeah, I want to like give people like paint a time frame for like anime films. So like anime films will like air in Japan, as they do in theaters. Japanese people will watch it and enjoy it or hate it, but they'll be able to watch it regardless. And on average, it will usually take about like 6 months or more to like come to the States, like in theaters, mind you. This is like not like home releases or anything, or being released on streaming platforms. This is like in theaters, and like you said, it's unless you're like a big name shonen film, like say like your Demon Slayers, like your One Pieces, and your Jujutsu Kaisens, like those usually get like a week or 2 weeks of like of a theatrical run here in the States. But if you watch any other anime film that doesn't have like a big name franchise on in its title, it will usually be 1 to 2 days, and it will usually be on a random Thursday, which you will have to like go to like one theater that's like an hour or 2 hours away from your house or wherever. That you will like. It's a struggle, and like just to like recount like a personal experience. So like the last like 2 movies that I've seen in theaters were the Shirobako movie and the Revue Starlight movie, like in that order. I went to go see the Shirobako movie with Bobby, summer of 2021, I believe. And that was like a showing on like a random Tuesday, I think. And it was the only showing. There was only one. If you missed it, too bad. The Revue Starlight film was a little bit better. It was 2 days showing, but it was like a Sunday, Monday thing. I got to see it like Monday after work, and I'm just like, man, like, why couldn't it be like
Scuff subs.
Yeah, and like that's another thing where like a lot of like the translations for movies that you see in theaters are kind of like less than ideal most of the time, just because like people who like, nothing against like people who translate for like a job, but I like the way Bobby put it one time where it just like sounded like they put the script through Google Translate a few times and put it on the big screen.
Oh, bro, not like that.
That was very funny to me, and I completely agreed.
I mean,
but-
it's still better now than it was a couple of years ago. They go out to the middle of nowhere to watch Heaven's Field 2. That was real cool.
I will say that
Yeah.
Shirobako movie me and Jeffrey watched, though, the viewing that we had, that was
God.
scuffed. It was scuffed. The viewing, the
Yeah.
actual movie had like one of the ends cut off, and then it was just slapped onto the other side of the picture. I don't
Yeah.
know
Movie
how
theater's
that.
fault.
I don't know how that happened. Like it, if you can't imagine it in your brain, I can't blame you because it's so stupid what it was. But it's
Basically,
it's
it looked like the film reel was fucked up.
You really
and-
hate to see it.
Yeah, and like, so bringing this conversation back because that was a little longer than I expected. But like, the main way that like people like see movies like here in English-speaking countries is like after like the Blu-ray releases in Japan.
Yep.
You either have to import that for a large sum of money most of the time, or you steal it. Yeah, like, and like this shouldn't be like news to anybody who's like been invested in this medium for like a long time. Like piracy has been like a part of like the anime culture like for a long time, and it's kind of like been shoved under the bed whenever like people like talk about like where they get their anime. But for films, like it's actually like nowhere else. Like you actually have to buy it, or you have to go to one of these like 1 or 2 like theater showings. And like there's very few places that are streaming movies. But this article is I really wanted to talk about because it looks like that's going to change like moving forward. Because like as we see on screen, like the Yurikent movie and the SAO progressive movies like will be available for streaming like later this month, and also more movies are coming besides those 2. Like we already mentioned like the Psycho-Pass movie, but there's also a bunch of more movies that are coming like even earlier than that. And like and this has been a trend like since like summer, I believe, because like below the visuals, like there's a list of movies that are already available for streaming on Crunchyroll. So I noticed there's like big names like the Jujutsu Kaisen movie, like Akira and Your Name, as like films that a lot of people will have heard of. But there's also things like Mamoru Hosoda's repertoire, like Wolf Children and The Girl Who Lived Through Time and The Boy and the Beast. Like I love me some Mamoru Hosoda. Like he's a great director, and I really like wanted his works to be accessible to a lot of people, because I think like he's a very like underrated director of films. And there's a lot here that is readily available on Crunchyroll right now, and I just want to like emphasize that this was not the norm back in the day. Like if you're coming into anime and you're able to like click on a streaming service and watch a movie, feel blessed, because man, the things that we had to go through to watch these films.
Accessibility is convenient, and that is good because most people are lazy.
True. That's definitely facts. Also, can we talk about how Eurocamp fans are really eating, bro? Like really
eating,
man, bro.
It's actually wonderful. Like
we're going camping.
I cannot wait to see this movie. Like, I was excited to like see Eurocamp the Eurocamp movie in theaters whenever it dropped on like that random Wednesday when I'm supposed to be working.
Yep.
I always love to do that. But now I can watch it conveniently in like the comfort of my own home.
Yep.
Yeah, the comfort. I'll grab a blanket. I'll make myself like a nice warm cup of coffee.
No.
Watch it outside.
No. You gotta have the cup ramen.
You gotta camp while watching the camp.
Yeah. That sounds
Build a
like
fire in your own room. Roast some marshmallows.
I think I'll just settle for like just having a heater, because I don't want to light my room on fire. Thank you very much.
True. Yeah, good.
But yeah, like we love that like film content is now like becoming more accessible, because like accessibility for like anime like was like a recent thing, like with people like having like access to like streaming services rather than like ripping like fan subs from some scuffed ass website.
True.
And now that same treatment is now coming to anime films, and you love to see it.
Yeah,
love to see it.
Definitely love that. And looking forward to seeing that movie on. Looking forward. I mean, the SAO is the Asuna thing, right?
Yes, the Asuna retelling.
Interesting, bro. Like
the
SAO fans, man, they really out here, bro.
Mm-hmm.
They getting all the content. I respect it. All right, our next topic, we got Naoko Yamada, her work Garden of Remembrance, world premiere in Scotland loves anime.
Yeah, and like we're kind of keeping on like the film topic right now. And I apologize for anybody who doesn't want to hear me fanboy, but like I'm going to talk about Naoko Yamada a little bit. So at the big at the end of like last month, October, Naoko Yamada like had her latest work at Science Saru like have a world premiere at Scotland Loves Anime, which is an event that she's been to at before. And this is like a film short, so it's like about like 15 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like an extended like music video, but this is it kind of like shows like the next steps that she's like trying to take like as a director. And on a personal note, Naoko Yamada is my favorite director in the medium, bar none. And I'm gonna like use this opportunity talking about like her latest work in Garden of Remembrance and also like her future work to kind of like illustrate like why she like holds like a very like special place in my heart and why her works are so influential, not only to me but to like a lot of other people as well, of like, you know, seeing like the beauty of anime like through her works. So like we said, Garden of Remembrance is her latest like film short that she produced at Science Saru, which is a studio that she's already worked at in the past on the Heiki story, which is an anime that like I hold in like a very high regard, just because like it's a really like great demonstration of like why Naoko Yamada is like such an amazing director, and also like the evolution of her works. And what we're seeing right here is an interview conducted by one of the journalists at Anime News Network when Naoko Yamada came to visit London before her trip to Scotland to this world premiere. And they asked her like a few questions. Like, I'm not going to like paraphrase like the whole thing, but there are a couple things that I do like want to highlight. Mainly like the transition for Naoko Yamada from Kyoto Animation, where she was previously employed at, and where she made a name for herself like as you know, one of like anime's like most you know brightest like young creative talents, to where she is now at Science Saru, which is another like, you know, reputable anime studio that has a unique like visual flair to it that you could just like tell like from like seeing one of their shows that this is a Science Saru show, you know. And like Naoko Yamada, like the reason why like her works are like so like influential to me is because of how much it respects like portraying humans, you know. Like she has always like championed like the sincerity of like the human spirit and wants to like capture like that essence and all like the things that like make us profoundly human in animation. And like speaking on like her like philosophy of anime, like she says that her intent is like not like to make animation like as, you know, like that's the foundation, but like more so to like faithfully like depict humans at a specific time in their life. And you could see this in any one of her works. Like you can just pick out anything that she's led, and you will see like this ideology like in like fleshed out like to the max, you know. Like you could pick like K-On! Or Tamako, Market and Tamako Love Story, or A Silent Voice, all things that that have, you know, gotten her to like where she is today as like, you know, one of like the most like I'd honestly like call her like prolific at this point. Like people like know like what she's worked on and know that it's, you know, it stands out. They stand out like as singularities in the medium. Especially like A Silent Voice is like probably like her most known work, where the character acting like on display there is like so like it's masterful, because like it highlights like non-verbal expression to a degree that I don't think anything has done before, or like even like after it, like debatably, you know. Like it's a movie that's all about communicating with people like through things that don't involve like you speaking. So there's a lot of sign language and a lot of just like facial expressions and body language and subconscious gestures that are just highlighted so well. And it's a beautiful thing, and it's something that has like moved me on like multiple occasions, like just her works. And so and this is like her time at like Kyoto Animation, and now I kind of like want to move to like where she is currently at Science Saru, where she has said that there is a difference and like a change that she has like wanted to like embody in her latest work on like the Heiki story and Garden of Remembrance, where she is so like I said before, like she doesn't necessarily like create animation as like the main intent. It's more so like faithfully depicting humans in a way that's like, you know, very authentic and very beautiful. And animation is just like a product of that, or the vehicle that she uses to do that. Whereas like now that she's working at Science Saru like has this like philosophy of like, you know, the joy of creating animation as an art. You know, that is like the main focus, is creating animation. and she has like kind of like combined these two philosophies in her latest works and has tried to like strike a balance between that. So she still says that like the core reason why she makes anime is still the same, but now she is like more cognizant of like what she needs to do to like adjust to like her new working environment and the people who are around her, and like how she decides to like lead them, because she is an industry leader first and foremost. And all of this like takes us to today, where she recently announced that her next feature-length film will be produced at Science Star. So she is continuing to work there. This will be like her third work that she has made for them. First one being the Hickey story, second one being the Garden of Remembrance, and now like an untitled feature-length film, which she is currently working on the storyboards for. So I know I'm like kind of like taking like this one because like, this is like a personal thing for me, but like, man, like if it wasn't for like Naoko Yamada, I probably wouldn't be like as passionate for this medium as I am today. Like, and I say that like earnestly, that like she has like changed like the way not only the way I view this medium, but just like, you know, life in general. Because like her works are really about like, you know, the growth of humans, and really like how it's like you don't really like to take like that big of steps in order to like achieve like change or growth. It's mainly like a perspective thing, where you just like see things in a different light, and you grow naturally with like, you know, undisturbed by a lot of like external factors, because like, you know, internal strength is like something that I think resides in all of us, and that we can find if we like, you know, try hard enough and think of things in different ways. And those messages have, you know, in a lot of ways shaped me into who I am today. And I think that like I want to like, you know, faithfully like represent like what her work has like done for not only me, but for countless other people who love her work. And you know, this is really why I love anime so much, and why I'm able to talk about it at length in a podcast like this. So
there you go.
Go off.
I think all of us probably have at least one staff member that we can kind of attribute why we love it so much in some way. So it's really cool to see. I mean, I'm all like full disclosure. Like anytime Urabuchi gets anything new, I'm like, oh shit, bro, it's time. Oh my god, like
brace yourself, bro.
Yeah, I mean, if you know, Takahiro Inoue picks up his pen and draws any manga, I'm popping off.
Dude, that guy is crazy.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, absolutely.
He's a legend.
In his bag.
That's facts. All the way.
Unfortunately, my favorite creator is
It like
passed.
blows
Sorry.
my mind that like
I'm
Inoue
sorry,
has
brother.
done 3 different manga that are like considered like so very like goated.
It's mostly Slam Dunk and Vagabond, but
Hey
I
man,
mean,
people like real too.
yeah, that's because no one's read Real. That's the thing, though.
It'd be like.
But the ones who did though, it doesn't matter. Like,
Oh yeah, no, I mean, listen, dude.
For him to be in his bag for like 3 separate things, almost completely separate things, is crazy.
I mean,
There you
speaking of Slam Dunk, you know.
Yeah,
the next thing.
so like segue, and so actually I have some questions to ask about this. So our next one is talking about the new Slam Dunk movie.
Let's go,
That's
baby!
coming out. And so like I don't know why. I'm not sure why, and you can feel free to fill me in on this if any of you know. But like the last time we talked about Slam Dunk, I specifically remember someone being like, I don't know why people are excited for this. I don't think it's gonna be that good. Is there like controversy around the Slam Dunk
Oh,
movie?
no.
Like, is something
I
going
think
on here, or-
the
I mean, if you watch the
way-
trailer, you'll see it. But
Yeah, the way
Oh,
people
okay.
are talking about it, they're not excited. But I think Bobby and I don't really care either way.
Yeah, who the
I
fuck
think it
cares
looks
about
good.
it? Okay. Let's
I think it
look-
looks good, but
Let's look,
we'll
and then
see.
we'll go from there on what on what happens next.
行け。俺たちならできる。一時さん。
That was
Okay,
cool.
so no, this is that thing where like I don't know what it is, but I feel like people have this like really like super boomer mentality when it comes to
3D. It's
Like-
bad.
like
It's so bad. I hate
like,
it in my animation.
I don't know who did it. Like I don't know who made the take. Like because there are two parts of this, right? There had to be someone that made it popular to hate CG. Like there had to be some work that they were exposed to that was like bad with CG for them to not like.
It was Berserk. Like,
Oh yeah,
let's
yeah.
not-
No, it was
Let's not
Berserk.
fuck
Yeah.
Berserk.
No,
That's-
absolutely. So it's Berserk, but then like Berserk was 2016, right? Like what it was 2016 that it happened.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, it's been 6 years. Like there's been so many advancements in this medium, not only CGI but just in general. But like shows, like even watching week to week, like we've seen a few shows that are not even like, some of them are full CG, but like most of them aren't.
Episode
They
1 of
incorporate-
Chainsaw Man.
Yeah. Yeah,
Big
it's
bunch
yeah,
of
so, like,
big
Chainsaw
whiny
Man. Yeah,
babies
exactly.
crying
So-
about CGI.
So I really don't get it. I don't get how people could be like, this looks bad, but then turn around and think that because the new Dragon Ball movie is also full CG, right? And I've seen the same people say ill things about things like this, love shows like that, and it's just like, what are we really talking about here? Just because CG doesn't mean it's bad. Like I've seen so many works for the CG, full CG that are like really good. So like I don't know why people like are up their own asses about this. Like I don't really get it. Like
Yeah, like I get the complaint when it comes up in 2D anime where it's like I notice that it's different and that breaks my immersion for a second, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I understand. That makes sense. Like
Mhm.
I felt that too, you know?
Yeah.
That's why I think that like integrating 2D and 3D together is very difficult with
Harder, yeah.
some exceptions.
Yeah.
But when it's full 3D, like I don't know, man, like I think you just you got something with you that's it's a little bit spiteful. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and it's also like one of those things where like people might not think about stuff like this, but like this trailer's on Twitter. Twitter is notoriously bad for butchering videos and pictures, especially videos in terms of like bit rate, frame rate, stuff like that. So like maybe there are people that saw it on Twitter and it's just like a really bad, it's just a really bad place to watch the trailer. And
maybe.
that could affect people's impressions as well. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't really think about because Twitter really sucks for this. Honestly. Like it's really bad. No, I'm serious. Like it's really
they
bad.
do.
It's really bad for stuff like this. But like I looked at that trailer and I'm like, this looks fine. I don't know why people would be mad about
I
this.
feel like it always just takes a little bit for my eyes to adjust.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, 3D. And then like once it does, I'm like, all right, this looks pretty cool. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
and
If
also
it feels
another
good.
thing is like Slam Dunk's kind of old, right? Like it's
Yeah.
kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
old, and so like
Very old.
I gotta imagine that a lot of people, it will have been a while them seeing the original Slam Dunk to watching this movie. Like the time in between is going to be pretty severe for the people. So it's not
Obvious.
even like you're coming off of like, oh, I just watched this new season of anime and now I have to transition to CG. You don't even have that because Slam Dunk is old. So it's like
I
you have
mean,
plenty
you
of
shouldn't
time
watch
to,
the
like-
original anime anyway, because that's like it does not age well at all.
I feel
You
like
should always read the manga. The manga is gorgeous. It doesn't matter.
True.
The anime it shows its age on its sleeve.
I really
I,
believe that, bro.
watching this trailer, watching like the little kid like kind of shoot around, it was like, yo, this guy was in his bag, even though he missed a shot, but
That's
but it's like he just looked cool.
You gotta miss sometimes, bro. It'd be like that. It'd be
Yeah, no, he missed a shot, but he looked cool. I was like, yo,
They're also calling this the first slam dunk.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
where in the
Yeah, I
timeline
don't
we're gonna be
know.
with this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
it's-
leaves. Yeah, good.
If you're a fan of the series, like you can tell by aspects of the character designs that this is at least past the specific part of the series. So when you call this the first slam dunk, it's really confusing
Mhm.
because it's like this isn't the beginning of the story.
This
Like,
is
what are you
definitely not the end
doing?
of the story.
Maybe this is where the first slam dunk happens.
Oh my god, they invent the slam dunk in the movie. Oh my god.
It also makes
Maybe-
you wonder about like sequels and stuff like that too. Like, are there going to be
True.
more things after this as well? Or
It seems
But-
like it's like one of those things, right? Like you really like getting a movie is like such an important pivot point in anime now. Like, because like if you release a movie and it actually does really well, now you have all this budget to do other shit if you want to. And I'm sure there's plenty of people that would be down for more slam dunk shit. But having not read the original, I don't know like where they would go narratively and all of that. But it's basketball, so I imagine they could take it somewhere if they really
So-
wanted to.
I don't want to say anything about like the ending, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of openness to the ending.
Okay.
Some interesting. So I think aside from the trailer, they also actually released the 5 main cast,
Oh, okay.
the 5 voice actors, and a lot of them are, I don't want to say pretty new, or just kind of haven't done like a major, like a huge role like this. The only one is Akagi, who's voiced by I think Kenta Miyake. So that's like All Might, Scar. I think who else is he? He's a couple of other things, but he's done some like pretty big roles. But I think the rest of these guys have been in things they're either just kind of starting out and haven't been in much, or like they were like a main role in something from like a long time ago.
He's a Zod.
Zod.
I'm looking.
And then I think the other notable thing is that Inoue is the one directing the film.
Oh, I actually
So
didn't expect that to be the case. So that's
Yeah, so he's directing and scripting the film.
Oh, that's
So,
bro.
that
people
should be interesting.
excited then. What the fuck?
Do it yourself.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
like-
he's doing it himself. You cannot lose intent. You cannot mess this up if this is your
that's
intent.
what I'm saying. It's like his
Yeah.
vision. Like that's like really blessed, honestly. Like that is something really blessed that a lot of works don't get.
but it's also kind of scary because
is.
does he know what he's doing?
True.
Yeah, it's
True, any
it's hard to
truers?
translate to the it's hard to translate over to like anime, but
It's
you
true.
know.
It's true. But I
Um,
mean, you know, I'm kind of excited to see where it goes because of that fact. Like that's really interesting to me.
And just so that the people know, you know, the cultural significance of slam dunk
yeah.
is immense.
Mhm.
There would not be basketball in Japan if it weren't for slam dunk's manga.
Yep.
Kuroko's
That is
bum
not
ass little
exaggerating.
show would not exist.
And
Yeah,
and if
Kuroko
you- like
wouldn't
they,
exist. That's like the worst thing that Slam Dunk's ever
they,
done.
they fucking love basketball over there now too. So it's actually really crazy to think about, right? Like basketball's
And-
huge
and-
over there.
Yeah,
And-
like talk about breaking into the mainstream. Like
Right.
Slam Dunk literally changed the country. It literally changed high schools around the whole country. Everyone had a basketball club suddenly.
Yep.
It was like, damn, it really did something.
Yeah, some other things to note is that the animation director actually did a whole lot of stuff for Titan originally.
Okay.
He was like the action animation director.
Oh.
Did a whole bunch of key animation for the first season.
That's really interesting, actually.
And then looks like he jumped around to Cabaneri too.
Oh.
Did animation directing there. Storyboard. Hey, listen.
No, it's fine.
Say
it's
what
fine.
you will, say what you will about the story. You know, Merchant IG is pretty good at not IG. Wit's usually pretty good at animation. So
No, they are. No.
I don't feel
The CG
too worried
director, the CG director was also like in One Piece Strong World, like he was like in charge like the CG in that apparently too. So it's like, hey, look,
Oh, okay.
there's some consistency here.
All right. It's cool. I mean, I like I said, I'm pretty curious to see where it goes. Honestly, like I
can't wait to
I
watch
think people
this.
that watch this PV and like write it off, I think you're out of your fucking mind. Honestly, like I don't know how else to put it. Like I think you're crazy.
I can't
I
wait
don't
to watch this for like a whole year. Just not watch
Yeah.
it for a whole year while
That's
I wait
true.
for its release.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Slam Dunk, but this already to me like seems like a very interesting endeavor with like, you know, the decision to make it CG and the fact that like, you know, the creator is so directly involved with how this film is going to play out, you know?
Yeah.
And that's something you don't see too often. So
We'll be keeping
Yeah.
my eye on that for sure.
A lot of the motions, they looked good for basketball motions. So we'll see.
All right. Next up, we got some, bro. It feels like we can never do news without there being something about your name. Something. It's like I feel like we could play 6 Degrees of Separation, where like something on the list. Well, yeah, how long does it take to get to your name? But this time we're talking about. This is live action adaptation, right?
Yeah, so like I saw this news out of like the corner of my eye because like obviously I see your name like I won't say often, but like if I see it, I'm never surprised because it's probably just somebody like talking about it or something. And then I see that like, oh, this is something regarding the live action adaptation that has been in production limbo for a very long time.
I hope it stays there.
I hope it stays there too. But so basically like what this is like the newest like development in its production cycle where so far it has changed directors I think 2 or 3 times. Just because
it's already a red flag.
Yeah, the most like recent director left because of scheduling conflicts as we see. I wonder what could that mean, but you know, and like that's pretty much like the story of like this whole like live action adaptation, like since it was like, you know, pitched, and like they just like named a new director, but like, you know, I'm really like not here to like talk about like this project like in particular, but like more so like talking about like, you know, live action adaptations of anime in general, and also like, you know, particularly ones that like have like, you know, international staff like handling it. And you know, these adaptations over the years have been notoriously dog shit, not going to sugarcoat it, and I don't think that's going to be a surprise to anybody. But like with this one in particular, because it's being handled by Paramount, which is like, you know, most people like know Paramount, so we don't need to talk about that. But like, you know, this is like, you know, English people are like handling this. It's not like this was like a live action adaptation that was made by like, you know, Japanese folks, because there are a lot of those like that, like say like the real life Attack on Titan stuff. Or like the real life, like, I don't know, Phoenix Wright stuff is first thing that came to mind. It's a Japanese, like, you know, media being adapted by Japanese people still, but this one it's by English speaking people. So I kind of wanted to talk about like, man, like, has there ever been a good live action adaptation of any anime ever?
No.
I
live action adaptation of any anime.
I legit
like,
don't think there's a single one. Like I can't.
You mean like just do you mean just like taken by English speaking people, or like in general ever?
In general. So for now, like both like Japan and English.
So from what I understand, the Gintama movie is actually good. The live action Gintama anime, or the live action Gintama movie is actually good. Other than that, I have heard nothing.
You've never watched it?
Dragon Ball Evolution,
I haven't watched
baby.
it. No,
Bro, shut up.
Dragon Ball. Yo, Death Note, dude, come on.
I'm sure with Gintama though, it's a little easier because of the quality, but
Speed Racer, I know, has got like a cult following, just because like the Wachowski sisters did it, and like the special effects like for it were pretty ahead of the time.
Yeah, so actually that's something I want to make a note of. So like a lot of the thing that people don't understand is like when we talk about adapting anime to a new medium, in and of itself, you're going to run into some issues, because the whole reason that people love this medium in the first place is audiovisual. And the problem with putting it into live action format is that special effects are extremely expensive, like extremely expensive. And so like if you want to pour a ton of budget into making the special effects what they would need to be to adapt the story, especially one that has a lot of flourish, like you could never do a Dragon Ball movie live action without like millions upon millions upon millions of dollars in production budget, right? Like you could never do that, because the special effects are going to have to be like out of control in order for you to get remotely close to what people have come to know and love from the series, right? And so like unless you're like Disney or Marvel, right, you probably don't have that budget to put into one project that you don't even know if it's going to resonate that well with your English speaking audience. Because let's be real, right, anime has become more mainstream for sure, but that doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to perform that well in this format in theaters in America, right? And that's a big market. Whenever we're talking about Paramount, is is really, really big in the States. And so like, if that's an endeavor that they want to pour millions of dollars into, they're going to be expecting quite a large return on investment. And there's no guarantee that that is going to happen. And so like that the handling of, you know, the director and everything is already a giant red flag, like a massive red flag. Like I don't even want to get anywhere near this, bro. Like I'm already walking in the opposite direction
on this project when it's finished.
I don't get like what makes people keep thinking this is like an okay idea? Like none of them are. I doubt any of them are successful. There's no way they're making money.
I think it's like it's like Pioneer Complex, I think, where they know they realize that the first people to do it successfully, it will be like insane amounts of money, right? Like if someone were to do it and do it right with a popular series, like it would be like an extremely profitable endeavor, like obviously. Now how successful, I mean, I'm not exactly sure.
The thing
something
is,
tells me they look at other anime films and they think that they could hit those types of numbers, but like,
I'm personally just really skeptical. I like to think that there's like a room of a bunch of like bigwigs who just sit there and like they're like, hey guys, check out this thing. Look at these sales numbers. It's huge. It's like, what is it called? It's like Your Name. It's what's called an anime. And they're like, oh, interesting.
But there's you can't. You're making them seem stupider than they actually are. There's no way, because
no. Actually, actually, he's not, because speaking from experience, because this happens in esports a lot, actually. So I could shed some light on this aspect, where a lot of the people that sit on boards for these companies, like the people with the real money, making really, really big decisions that move millions of dollars. A lot of the time, there's a severe disconnect between what they know about the product, right? Like a lot of times they just don't know what it is at all. So I imagine a lot of people at Paramount have no idea what Your Name is, not let alone have seen it, right? They have no idea what it is.
But like you don't need to. You just go like, okay, this is an anime.
It's
like,
they don't know about anime. They don't know what an anime is. Like,
this is a thing that is called an anime. It's not a live action thing. We make it to live action. Who's done that before? And you just see a bunch of failed projects. Like, come on. Like,
okay, but ego is in that place, right? Like, you're a company, right? You're competing with other companies at all times. When someone brings it to you and they're like, okay, you know, Your Name did this well, you know, this is our potential profit, this is our potential revenue streams. They're like, yeah, no, that sounds good. And then they may ask that question, like, has anyone ever done anything like this before? And you pull up the examples of failures in the past. They're just like, you know, we're kind of built different, so we're gonna try anyway. Like, that's really might be what is going on here, because like
someone should just try with Monster, and then it might work. Because Monster doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be an anime. It really doesn't.
I mean, people have tried to like adapt things that like they thought would actually like work in live action. I remember like Cowboy Bebop was getting like a live action thing.
That was more of a script writer's thing than it was anything else, was it not?
Well, regardless, like that type of thing it happens every time though. It's something comes to the West too, because Dragon Ball, Death Note, like everything has received significant localization changes in quotation marks.
Yep.
That like completely ruined the integrity of what the story is supposed to be.
I don't know what you're talking about. Death Note, the Death Note movie was great.
Oh my god.
Battle Scream was something else. Light Scream was something else.
Make it fucking stop, man. But
yeah,
I personally, I don't want anything to do with this shit at all. Keep it away from me. I'm never watching this. If it does see the light of day, which I hope it doesn't, I hope they can, I really hope, because these people, they're gonna lose a lot of money. I can tell you that. Lose a lot of money.
Here's what I'm scared of. If it does become like the first really good one.
Oh yeah, that would be amazing.
The true no,
that sucks. They're gonna more.
Oh, they're gonna keep trying. Yeah.
They're gonna keep trying, and they're not gonna know why it did well.
That's true. That's true.
We're gonna see so many of our favorite series lambasted.
No.
Okay,
destroyed.
That guy Carlos Lopez Estrada, Raya's pretty good. I like that movie. I feel like people didn't like it though, but I liked it.
Yeah,
You're just
yeah, and I mean, like,
looking through, trying to find a silver lining everywhere.
but he's not the problem here, though. Like, that's
I know he's not the problem.
Yeah,
I'm saying,
like, like, that's not the greater issue.
He might not stay on the project for very long. Who knows?
Right, he might not even be the person that ends up being the director. Be like that.
Yeah.
He was also like a part of Encanto, which I also thought was really
Yeah,
good.
Encanto
but I also
was very
did not
good.
think people. I also don't think people really watched it that much.
And
but-
Encanto was
Yeah,
quite good.
I could tell from just like reading about this project, like on a surface level, that like how like this project like even like came to be. They probably just like looked up like Your Name's numbers and said like this is going to like make us a lot of money. And then they pitched the project, and then some people like saw the red flags and just immediately like wanted out.
Yep.
Because maybe they've seen it before. Maybe people are smarter than the people on the board, and good on them.
Yep.
But there's a point that I kind of wanted to spend like a little more time on, not too long, but like especially like regarding like internationally handled projects like this one, handled by like Paramount, of a Japanese anime. There's really like a loss of like intent in like that type of like adaptation and like transition between mediums, because I talk about like artistic intent all the time when I'm talking about like what I think is like the peak of this medium, and I'm not gonna say like Your Name is like embodies that like the best it can, because like I think it's like very like it looks good, it sounds good, and it's like a very like good cinematic experience, that film, and doesn't really like offer much more than what you see immediately. But I give it credit where it's due.
Yeah.
But like, whatever intent was in like the original Your Name from like Makoto Shinkai, I don't think was ever like ever considered when this project was pitched. They just saw the numbers. They probably like don't even know like what it's about, like even roughly, like, and like that makes me like really sad, because like it really these projects like really treat art like a commodity. It's just like, this is gonna make us money. This was already proven to be successful, and we're just going to leech off of it, and that makes me really sad, because of how I feel about anime, and how everywhere I can I want to like look at it through an artistic lens, but things like this just make it hard, because I know that there are these people out there who only see things through a financial lens, and I'm just like, I hope it doesn't do well for, and I hope that this
they
trend
got me
of,
fucked up, man.
I also think I also just think that the entertainment industry at large is very allergic to original ideas.
Yes.
So,
dude, it's crazy.
I mean, like I think it's pretty easy to pitch this series. It's just it's Freaky Friday, except it's a couple.
Yep. You like that?
and
Insane. But moving on, so we got some Kaguya news. We got Akasaka.
It's kind of a follow-up to what we talked about last time. So
so he's no longer he's gonna retire as an illustrator. Which is a little unfortunate. I kind of like this illustration. I can't lie. Like I was kind of, but he's going to be writing, so like it's not as bad. Like I think it would have been kind of fucked up. Like it would have kind of fucked me up if he just was like, I'm done altogether. I think that
I peaked, I'm out, that type of thing.
Fuck.
He didn't like catch like last episode, so like we talked about like Kaguya ending, like Akasaka announced that like the next chapter would be the last, and that would be the end of Kaguya, and we were like kind of like questioning like where he was going to go after Kaguya was ending, because like he still has another manga that's going on, like Oshinoko, and he has said in this statement, like it's obviously all in Japanese, but people have translated it, and he has like stated that he is still going to continue like creating works like as an original author. Which includes like him still writing for Oshinoko, but just not, illustrating for it. And he also says he might revisit Kaguya in the future, because a few things in its ending were a little open-ended and warrant like follow-ups, which he has expressed that like he is not opposed to following up on those should he feel it's appropriate for like completing the work as a whole. And this is obviously like bittersweet news, because I think a lot of people have like come to appreciate what Akasaka has brought to the table with his work on Kaguya. Like he really has like an eye for like this medium of manga and like this genre, which has infamously like been in my opinion like the most like tropey genre and like the genre that like succumbs to tropes the most often, and he has really like broken like every convention that was like present that he had in front of him and made a series that a lot of people are going to love and remember for a very, very long time. So I'm glad he's still going to be around in some capacity. But his future, his immediate future is pretty clear right now of what he wants to do and where his priorities lie.
Yeah, no, I mean like it's still cool that he's gonna be around. So it's not as bad, for sure. Definitely very valued in the community. So definitely looking forward to seeing what he puts out next. Next is some comedy. Oh man.
Here we go, baby.
The Tokyo
Alright.
Revenger.
I'm out. I don't need to listen to this.
I kind of need a little bit of background.
No, Bobby, I don't think
so
we need
what-
it.
so-
I
so-
really don't think we do.
So, Tokyo Revengers, for those who don't know, it's quite a popular series at this point. It had an anime in the last few years adaptation, and it actually has a new one coming out. I think it's 2023 that
It'll
the
come
next season
out winter. Yeah.
Winter, okay, yeah. So, very popular series, and it is it's
Don't sugarcoat it. Just do it. Just say it.
Okay.
Just bring up the first thing. Let's
It's-
rip
it's-
the
yeah,
Band-Aid off.
It's not great. At least in my opinion. And so like they recently the manga ended, and apparently the ending is complete nonsense. Complete nonsense. Like people are so mad.
Use your words.
It's so funny, bro. It's like insane. Like look at these people. They're dragging them, bro. They're like, good.
I'm gonna do my best to like summarize like what people have like been feeling and what they've expressed about like this series like over the past like week since it ended. So like Tokyo Revengers is like 100 or 270 like plus chapters. So like people have been like following this series for a long time. If you are like either a dedicated fan who really enjoys it, or you're one of the ones who wants to be along for the ride and shit on it at every avenue and like really like want to like stick to the people who think it's good, and I am in that camp. I have not read it, but I've like engaged with the series like through the anime. I've said my piece on that like many times. I'm not a fan and have like not read the manga, but we do have an acquaintance who does read the manga, and boy, like when like the last chapter like dropped, like everybody like literally like exploded and extreme mauled, bro. Like he's told me that you can read the last 3 chapters without any context of what happened, like directly like before it, or even like way before it, and you can still see why it is complete embarrassment as like a written piece of media. And I took him up on the offer. I read the last 3 chapters, and obviously I know like what the series is about. I'm not going in like completely like blind. Like I already like have my own opinions on like why I don't think it's like a good series at all. But man, like I'm not going to say exactly what happens because it is spoilers, and I do think that it's very like comedic if you want to experience that yourself. So like I said, if you want to read the last 3 chapters out of context, you can. Like it is like the most efficient way to undermine your entire narrative and your character journeys for the last 270 plus chapters in an instant. Tokyo Revengers has already like done enough to like show that it doesn't really like care about like how its like time travel mechanic really works. It's mainly there for like convenience and to be like the main like vehicle to like where like the main character like goes to where he needs to drive the story and like drive the narrative.
Mhm.
And I can't speak on like how that time mechanic was handled in like the middle parts of the manga, but it doesn't matter because I've seen the ending and I see how it doesn't even matter to begin with. So and like I picked out a few tweets just like that I think were like the funniest and expressing like how people are feeling. So like
they're getting dragged, bro. They're getting dragged.
The last one was comedy. That one was like I feel that like people who like enjoyed the series, who like genuinely enjoyed the series, like now don't want anything to do with the series. They do not want to associate with it any longer. And then this one is like really funny because like Isayama is like the Titan creator.
Yeah.
And so I mean, you can look at what's here
that
right
just
now.
like really, really insane, bro. Like
we were already talking about like how controversial and polarizing like the ending to Attack on Titan was.
Yeah.
This is like I'm not even gonna say it's like controversial. People hate this ending. If you like this ending,
they actually despise it.
you are like almost objectively wrong, and I do not say that very often because like I'm somebody who like doesn't want to like be like a buzzkill to anybody. Like if you enjoy a series and I don't, like far be it from me to like tell you that like you're wrong for enjoying the series. It just may not be for me. But for this one, man, like if you didn't see the flags early on in the series, like you're blind. I'm gonna be completely honest.
And
like,
they were there, bro. I'm telling you, like Revenge is like one of those shows that when it was coming out in anime format, because like you know we throughout our career there are people that like gas a lot of shows. Like a lot of shows get gassed, obviously, because whether they have popular mangas or you know for one reason or another. Avengers was one of those shows that like I only watched because it was gassed, right? Like I would put it in the same category as like Tower of God and like God of High School. Like those are shows that I only watched because I heard the buzz about them and I wanted to be up to date on what was going on, like at least for the discourse purposes. It was a waste of time. It'd be like that. But
is that a fun?
I will confirm. I will neither confirm nor deny whether that was a pun or not. But it was definitely. I definitely could not have done it if I didn't watch it week to week. I definitely would have dropped it if I was binging. Like I would not have made it all the way through.
I could not bear watching that show if I had to binge it, bro.
That's what I'm
like
saying. So,
and like at this point, because like I was planning on watching like the new season that's coming out in winter because I wanted to have an informed opinion to tell people who like the series that they were wrong, that the series is like definitely like
of course.
I feel I'm toxic for this series, bro. Like I'm usually not this openly toxic, but like I'm definitely like, man, like I'm going to like watch this and experience it, and I'm gonna like
this is Jeffrey's rent-a-girlfriend.
I'm going to like have evidence to show you to your face why this series is like one of like the messiest narratives ever written, one of like the most like lazy like implementations of like time travel like as a mechanic, that because like time travel is like a hard thing to get right in general, like so like if something like flops like Tokyo Revengers that uses it, then it's like whatever, but like oh my god, going back to like the ending of this, like I've already said, like you can just like imagine like you're the author, Wakui, and you have like time travel like as a mechanic like at your disposal pretty much at all times, and you have like never utilized it in a way that like makes sense. You've utilized it only for like when it's convenient to have, and you use that to take the most direct path to telling everybody who has like supported your series that like it doesn't matter. Like, like you essentially like I'm gonna like make an analogy. You essentially like erased your save file and you started from the beginning, but you now know like what you like need to do like at every single point from the beginning of the game. So you just win. You just win the game. You took like the secret path to the end. Like you know you took like the dev door that you have the knowledge of, and that's it.
New
you
game
play the
plus,
game,
brother.
New game plus.
Yep.
But let me tell you something. Was it satisfying getting to that end? Like the way I just described it to you, like do you think that you would have fun playing that game if you just did it that way? No, you wouldn't, and nobody did. Everybody hates this ending because it takes away everything that was like built up. And I'm not even gonna say it had a lot going for it to begin with, because it didn't.
Yeah.
It did have a lot going for it, and whatever little it did have going for it doesn't matter. I'm just like, oh man, like it's impressively bad how this ending was. It is a complete embarrassment. He should feel bad. Like he should
I'm
feel
sure
bad.
he does, bro.
Dude,
I mean, I hope he doesn't have Twitter, because if he does, he has been
Oh my
bombarded.
God.
I am positive.
Part of me he knows it's bad. He has to.
I mean, the creative process is a very interesting thing, man. You just never know where their headspace is at whenever they.
Kind of like that, like the dude who wrote Redo, how he was like, oh, I don't want to make a thing that's like people will kind of read and be like, I want to get people like angry, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, well, so here's the difference, Miguel, is that what he said was, he gave an analogy.
Mhm.
If I show my work at a theater and there's 100 people in the audience, if 100 people thought, no, that was pretty good, he failed. And he thinks that, this is the Redo of Healer author, but he feels that if 50% of the people hate it viscerally and 50% of the people love it immensely, he succeeded. And this seems different, because it sounds like 100 people just hate it.
Yeah. That's a bag fumbled for sure.
Well, the Redo guy, it was like he intentionally knew what he was going to go for, and I think he knew it was going to be like not a very good piece of writing. It
That
seems
shit
like
is-
with the authorial intent here was to make this a good ending, but no, absolutely
The
not.
Redo of Healer author, his intention is to create controversy. There is no controversy for Tokyo Revengers, from what I can tell.
Yeah.
It sounds like everyone
It's like
agrees.
everyone just hates it,
It sucks.
Yeah. There's no discourse to be had here. Like, it's not, oh yeah, if you interpret it this way, like maybe it was actually really, no, it's like everyone was like, this fucking sucks.
No man,
yeah,
like if you still like the series, you better like find a rock and hide under it and never come out, bro.
That's tough. And there's more icing on the cake. I added this myself because I think this is so funny. Such a series
Oh
of
my
events.
god,
So
I could not believe this.
it goes through
when
this,
you put
right?
it on.
The ending is fucking dog shit, and everyone's mad. And then on top of that, it's getting live action adaptation. Which
my
is so
God.
fucking funny.
We just came off of like why I'm just like shitting on live adaptations. I'm so mad today, bro. Like I'm.
This is the most mold.
Jeffrey, there's a difference. This is a bad show getting a live action.
Oh my god.
Wait,
bro.
could this become better than the original?
I think so.
I mean that
This could work.
Okay,
This
okay.
could definitely work.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem, right? If the show, if the
Oh my
show-
God, look at
hold on.
Jackie.
Let me look at the show real quick. Hold on. I forgot what I rated it. Let me go look at the show.
I think you gave it higher than all of us though. You're mad, man.
I
You.
kind of gave it like a 3.
Me?
I thought.
I gave it a 3, bro. It did not deserve it. It probably deserves less than that. I'm not going. I remember, like when the show was airing, that there were a few people
I gave it a 3.
in like our circle
Yeah.
who were enjoying the series, and I'm like, why? And they were like, I think it's cool. And I'm like, why do you think it's cool? I'm like, oh my god, like delinquents are cool. I'm just like, there are like so many other works that you can like go to like get that vibe that are not this show, and that you don't have to deal with like bullshit at every single fucking avenue.
Oh my god.
I
Hey,
remember.
Dylan, do you think their threes are like our threes?
What'd you say?
No, their threes are definitely not our threes.
All right, I'm just making sure.
Oh, well, wait. What are we talking about here? Well, it's-
that our threes are different from their
Bro.
threes. Like our
okay.
ratings
so,
to 3 out of 10 are different.
what's your essential 3?
Search.
My essential 3.
Yeah.
Let me look at my
Let's
Annie
compare.
list real quick.
Let me go to my 3s real quick. I don't have many.
My 3s are
I
pretty
gave-
bad.
I gave C Danchi below a 3, so I mean,
Yeah, you gave Sidanchi a 2.7.
I actually don't have that many things at a 3. I have a lot of things at 2.5 and 3.5.
Oh, I got
but,
Hellsing,
What's-
Fairy Tail Final Season, and Tokyo Revenge.
What did you rate? What did you rate Sight?
Magical Sight.
Yeah.
That was a 3.
Yeah,
I mean, it was funny.
I gave it a 2.5. It was hilarious though.
For me, like when I like get to like my threes, like I'm actually like I'm actually like vocally hating on the show like at every turn. So like I think like my like quintessential like three is like Guilty
Oh
Crown.
no.
Okay.
You will not hear the end of me if like Guilty Crown comes up and
It seems like my
in
threes.
conversation.
It seems like most of my threes have a thing that I can be like, I did actively enjoy this, but everything else was total garbage. Is what it essentially
feel
boils down to.
I think the same for me. I think
I
it's
think
like
my threes are pretty honest, honestly.
my threes are pretty mild, if we're gonna be honest. Now we start getting down lower.
Dude,
it's like, yeah,
twos
sure.
are really bad, bro.
Once you lose the first digit being a 3 out of 10, there's something that happens, man. Something changes.
If you got below a 3, that's like visceral response region. Like,
no, that's not even. It's not even.
My Arrow Manga Sensei got a 2, bro.
Yeah,
I gave Arrow Manga
bad.
a 3.
Yeah, that's quite bad.
I think.
Yeah, I think.
See, I think about Arrow Manga, and I think about what it was trying to do, and then I think a show about like Infinite Stratos too, and I'm like, are these really the same thing? And I told myself, no, they're not.
No,
I think this show. I said this before. This show just could have been better if it just scrapped the time travel completely.
Yeah,
and just decided to be just be a delinquent show, and also make them 3 years older, please. I hate that they're like 14. It's like it just seems like
yeah.
So this is like a middle school gang that like just runs Japan.
No, it's really like
Mikey is like 13 and he drives a motorcycle. I'm like, in what world am I supposed to believe that a Japanese kid is doing this?
Actually,
that's funny.
Insane.
They're delinquents, bro. What do you mean,
bro?
They're fucking superhuman, is what they are. What the fuck,
dude? Draken can just like murder like herds of people.
Niggas are getting hit in the head with lead pipes and just being like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, Mikey's like 13.
That's a concussion. 2 weeks. Might have a little CTE afterwards.
I'm fine, guys. It's fine.
Yeah, Mikey's like 13 and like face tanked like 5 lead pipe shots and just said, "Okay, fine."
Crazy. I'm like, all right.
No, that's a concussion.
At that point, just make it a superhuman show. I don't know why you're trying to. I don't know. It's actually insane. Fucking
Kula, when you added this to like the docket today, like I can like, feel like a vein like bursting in my head, bro. Like this like combines like the two things that I have like yelled about for like the past like 30 minutes. I'm just like I feel so mad today, bro. I hope this isn't the rest of the things that we have, because like, man, I am actually mad right now.
Yeah, no, it's actually super ugly. Just get rid of this series altogether. I need
to take a sip, bro. Get outside and walk, get some fresh air.
All right, so our next thing we got here, we got Yuki Kaji and Bryce Papenbrook meet in LA. And it could be related to the Titan stuff that we talked about earlier with the part 3 of the final.
This is like a small little thing that I feel like was interesting enough to add. So like Yuki Kaji, obviously, like, well, maybe not obviously, but if you're familiar with his name, like he's like one of the most like prolific like male voice actors. Like, he voices like Eren and a bunch of other things, but for the sake of like this, like Eren. And also, like, Bryce Papenbrook is the English voice of Eren, and they've had a few like roles that they've shared across like the Japanese and the English language, and so like they're kind of like a little buddy because like their like philosophy like towards voice acting is like pretty similar, and they've like kind of like found like a camaraderie in that, which you love to see it, even if you're not a fan of like the characters that they played, like you can appreciate that they are like artists and comrades in that way, and they did this cool thing. So like this is, and it wasn't confirmed like why they like met up, but like we assume it had something to do with like the latest like Attack on Titan news with the final season, and obviously like Kaiji and Papenbrook like both reprising their roles as Eren, and they actually did like a voice acting demonstration together where they both like read some of the same lines that Eren had and kind of like showed how they like the process that they take when they're recording. So I felt like this is like really fascinating to me to show. So I'd like to like see that.
A look. Yeah, that's cool.
And you can turn the volume up just kind of low.
In the first place, you people have never even seen a Titan. So what are you so afraid of? Maybe I should just shut up. No, I'm gonna tell them everything I'm thinking. What can we do when people who have the power don't fight? If you're afraid of fighting for your own lives, then please help me! I'll tell these cowards! You cowards! Just shut your mouths and invest everything in me!
うわすごいわお素晴らしいすごい
Tag, you're in.
すごい。
カジヤ、どう出る？
全力でやらせていただきます。いきます。麻酔か。大体あなた方は巨人を見たこともないくせに何がそんなに怖いんですか。これ以上は黙った方が。いや、言ってやる。思ってること全部。力を持ってる人が戦わなくてどうするんですか。生きるために戦うのが怖いって言うなら力を貸してくださいよ。腰抜けどもにこの腰抜けどもめ、いいから黙って全部俺に投資しろ。
And yeah,
Right, it's
yeah,
such a cool moment. Like that's actually like
Yeah.
really really fucking cool.
yeah. I apologize if that was like a little soft because like this is like a recording and a tweet. So,
Yeah.
but if you want to like listen to it yourself, like I guess the tweet is on the screen if you like want to look at it, the person who posted it. But yeah, I thought this was like super cool because it kind of like opens up to something that I like talking about whenever it comes up is like the differences between like English and Japanese like voice acting. Because I've expressed in the past that like English dubs like I kind of mentioned this before with like the international like film handling with like there's like kind of like a loss of intent whenever you like translate something from like Japanese to English, and especially like in the voice acting industry where in Japan there's usually like a very like strong intent when picking a voice actor for a character. It's a very like involved process for finding like the right voice to like represent the character in the show. And when you bring that over to the States and have English voice actors like on those roles, there's a chance that like there will not be any intent involved or any like consideration to like what type of voice actor they wanted to voice the character. But like in this instance, like I think this is a very like cool instance where like the philosophy and like the intent behind like what the voice like was intended to be is actually like one to one. Bryce is a very reputable voice actor. Like he's also like Kirito, so he's gotten around in like in a lot of popular anime, and a lot of people like respect what he does, and I do too. And so that's kind of like what I want to talk about, like some of like our favorite like voice acting roles and like how we feel like they like I'm talking about like how like preserving the essence of like characters like through their voices is like super integral to like as a part of like the art.
Yeah.
I don't know if like anybody like wants to start.
I think it's like he looks like Aaron, bro.
Kaji?
Interesting.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
I'm like, you gotta, that's definitely Aaron. You know what I'm saying? Like,
we don't know why they met up, right?
No, not for sure. But like I said,
speculation.
speculation is that it has something pertaining to the final season of Attack on Titan.
I mean, I'm just saying, if you want to be thrown for a loop, they were also both the voice of Meliodas from Seven Deadly Sins.
oh god.
Whoa.
All right, well,
No, I mean, it's probably
good fucking luck with that one, brother. good fucking
Not
luck.
that I care. That series could stay gone. I don't care.
So what with your question? Are you just talking about like VAs in general, or are you talking about specifically dubs?
Like if there's like a particular like voice performance like in Japanese, because I know like we're all like we're all sub watchers here, that if there's like a particular like you can like feel the intent in something, so like maybe I should just like give an example of like what I'm trying to like get at here. So like in my humble opinion, I think like the best like utilization of voice acting in any anime comes from Shogunroku Rakugo Shinju, which is an anime about Rakugo, obviously, which is like a storytelling art in Japan, and that is like, you know, inherently Japanese, you know.
Mhm.
And the reason I feel so strongly about this is because, you know, it demands like really, really like strong and proficient voice actors in order to make a series like that, you know, not only like, you know, enjoyable to watch, but like, you know, it is like the foundation for like what the show like wants to say as a whole, because like it's about Rakugo, it's about an art that requires you to like have like a very like, you know, flexible voice and to tell a lot of stories in different ways, and you know, the growth that like comes from your time doing this for years and years and years.
Mhm.
And I don't, and when I think of like this series, like I think like this has to like exist only in Japanese. Like there cannot be like a dub for this
Okay.
show.
Yeah. Okay.
Because of like, you know, that intent that goes into the voice acting, and how I feel that like this series, along with like a majority of other series that I have seen, would just lose that intent. And I've noticed like a trend, because like I don't watch anime dubs like at all, but like I've sampled a few like in like the modern era of anime just to like reinforce like my opinion on dubs. But it like a lot of them like just sound like they're like just doing like their voice and not really like understanding the character that was that was like put in front of them. Like an example that I remember really distinctly was when Horimiya was airing. So Horimiya, like you guys all remember the show.
Yeah.
It was like one of like, you know, like the better rom-coms of last year, and probably all time, I would say. Like it was a very enjoyable show. But I accidentally saw a clip on like my Twitter feed of a Funimation dub for the show, and it was like just of a random scene, you know, nothing like too special, but like it was so jarring to me because like the characters like sounded like so like not like the characters that I saw. Like
I see.
I feel like they were like completely like the way that they like carried themselves like through their voice was completely different. I'm just like, this is not the character, and I had like a very visceral reaction to that because like it was bad. I don't want to disrespect the voice actor's work, but it's more like a voice direction thing where like I said, there's no intent in it. It's just like you just put voice actors in the booth, ask them to read out lines as they would, and just call it a day, you know. And I think that's a little like disappointing, you know, because
it is.
I'm sure that there's a lot of English voice actors who love the craft. Like I would like call like Bryce Pappenbrook one of those people.
Yeah, for sure.
So I've been to like anime conventions, and I've been in panels where we have like English dub voice actors, and I've seen like a pretty like I don't primarily watch dub, I primarily watch subbed anime because I mean it comes out sub first, so you know but I have seen like a strong number of dubs, and I remember I was at a panel featuring Kyle McCarley, and he was actually talking about how he thinks the specific voice director actually matters a lot, and he said that because he was talking about how Patrick Seitz in particular, when he is the voice director, he will have you redo your line over and over and over and over again, and he found that passion from him to be incredible. But there are some other voice directors where Kyle was like, hey, can I redo that line? And they would just respond, no, it was good, you know, we're moving on. And it's just like you can kind of tell that like that role is kind of pretty important, because like if the actor is not even doing the best job they think they can do, if they're not even able to do that, like how can you possibly end with a good end product, you know?
Just to kind of like echo that, like I don't know that much about voice acting, like whatever I know from a little bit I've read. And also I think it's really interesting to watch like voice actors perform and stuff. Like watching this whole thing with the two Aarons was pretty cool. And one of the first things I saw to ever do that was Hiroshi Kamiya just talking about voice acting. It's like, bro, this guy's baked. Whatever. So Sea Dog VA, the YouTuber and like, you know, podcaster, he's like obviously a VA. That's what the VA means. He talked about how like that he just thinks that like for English dubbing, the that the voice direction is just like way behind, and like it's not really the talent of the voice actors and actresses. It's just like,
that's what I tend to agree because I don't want to disrespect people, English voice actors, because they have it hard enough as it is, you know. I just like I have like such like a strong respect for like artistic vision of like your like you know what was meant to be and how that is kind of lost in English to some degree, you know. And I think it is mostly like a voice direction type thing where there's nobody to like check or like say like yeah like we should like redo this with like this inflection or that this tone or like this emotion. It's just like that's less common in English voice acting, you know.
Yeah.
But
Also thought it was interesting in that thing we saw in the video, just like how Yuki Kaji literally had the Attack on Titan manga volume in his hand.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
As he was going, I don't know what Bryce Papenbrook had in his stand in front of him, but I mean, I do think that it's interesting that he's not just being handed a script, because I don't know if that's normal or if that's just something he does. Because I do remember for the Monogatari series, there was an interview done where Hiroshi Kamiya said that he had gone through all of the original source material so that he could really, really understand his character. But some of the other voice actors were kind of, the seiyus were a little flabbergasted. They were like, "Oh, you really go that far, huh?" And so, like, I kind of wonder, you know?
It should. Like, I feel like that's like that like shows like dedication to like really understanding the character that you're playing. And I'm not saying like it's reasonable for everybody to do, because like, you know, time is of the essence. And you know, you only have so much time to like consume an entire like volume or multiple volumes of manga if you want to like understand a character. And I understand that's unreasonable, but you know, the people who do it, it really like reflects in their performances.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm very curious to know like what is the number of instances where voice actors try to look at the source material and not, because I do know that there have been talks of some people who say stuff along the lines of like, oh, but I don't want to, you know, like for dub actors, some of them say I don't want to try and imitate the original, I want to have my own spin and take on the character, like from what I interpret. And so like I always think it's just kind of interesting, like, because I mean, at the end of the day, all of this is an art form, and so there are many different styles that go about this.
Absolutely.
And so it would just be really interesting to know, like, what exactly is the approach all of these different people take.
Yeah, I do like appreciate like that like type of like interpretive like voice acting, because like, you know, you like the original creator can like have like the vision for how the character like wants to like sound and how they want to like carry themselves vocally. But the voice actor can also like do that as well. Like they can like read the material or like, you know, read like, you know, a description of the character, like their likes and dislikes and like of the sort, and try to like form their own interpretation from just that. And, you know, like, I mean, that's already like more effort than like I envision that a lot of people like would put into something like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's something that like I appreciate about like my favorite voice actors, because like I said before that like, you know, my favorite voice actor like Tomoyo Kurosawa is probably like one of the best at like this like interpretive voice acting, where she like goes through like several steps to try to understand the character, and like her like interpretations of any given character are like so influential that they actually like just craft animation around her performances, and I think that's super cool. And you know, I wish there were like more instances of this, like both like in Japanese and in English. I just think like there's more like it's more authentic that way. Like you're like more like everybody who's like involved in this is like more on the same page when that happens. And yeah, I just think this thing is really interesting, because
VA shit is really cool.
I'm not a voice actor.
Yeah.
I've been told I had a pretty like decent like radio voice in the past by a lot of people, but like I do not fully understand the techniques or the lengths that people go through to like train up for something for a career like this. But it's not like I appreciate it any less, bro. It's hard work.
In fact, I think I appreciate them more because, well, I mean honestly, like being a streamer and whatnot, I use my voice quite a lot. Not in the same way, but I think when we're talking about art forms and kind of breathing life into the medium that we've come to love so much. A lot more of that love can be attributed to VAs than people think it could be. Like it is. I think there are a lot of cases where casting, like choosing the correct person to bring a character to life is like super important. And it's something that like a lot of the best shows of all time, right? They do it spectacularly. And it's like one of those things that a lot of people take for granted, of course, as well, because like a ton of people aren't gonna actually look into who's the voice actor, right? Like what have they done in the past? Like I think that's a level that like requires like you to go and look like, okay, this person has done this.
Most people would more like pay attention to like what is being said rather than how they're saying it, you know?
Exactly. And then like the biggest example is like, you know, like Fakuta in season 2 of this, right? Like I cannot imagine any other person doing what she did, because what she did was like fucking crazy. Like I was like, she's out here destroying her voice for the sake of art, which is like insane, the amount of passion and work that they have to put in. So
and you know, like that sentiment of like, you know, I can't envision like any other like voice actor like doing like this voice, like kind of like shows like how severe like the recent like voice acting like controversies are here in like in like the States, you know. You talked about things like Mob Psycho, like recasting like all like the central roles just because of the unionization, you know, controversy. And I'm sure like some people like have like to some degree like been exposed to like what's been happening with like the Bayonetta thing. And that's like a different issue. That's more like a like
that's a complicated one.
It goes to show that like, you know, in English more so than in English more so than in like Japanese dubs, a lot of English voice actors are seen as like, you know, replaceable, which is sad to me.
It is really tough.
They don't like there's not really like a care or a consideration for like preserving like the integrity of like what you've already made, because like it's not like, oh, like we started like this voice actor and when or like we already had like this English voice actor in mind and he's just gonna like be the character for the entire time, but like you literally like had somebody like on the job and they did a good job, you know, like, you know, widely like agreed upon, like it was like a good job, and you just replace them like that. I'm just like, bro, what's up? And just because of like some stupid external factors. And just, no respect. It's
really piss me off, man. It grinds my gears, brother.
We appreciate voice acting.
Shout out to the VAs. That's why we have a whole award for them during the when we do awards. We have a whole specific award for VAs because we think they're that important. Definitely,
this is a good time, a good opportunity just to like say our piece on it, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, our next topic, we got Kasoku Band from Bocchi the Rock is set to release its full album of 14 songs on December 28th. Now, this is important, right? This is important because from the moment I first watched the show, I was hoping that they would actually put out music. I was hoping from the jump because, you know, as a music nerd, one of the coolest things about like Zombieland Saga, right, is that they actually put out albums of the characters' songs. I think that shit is so cool, and it's like that. It's like an extra layer of immersion because it's like, okay, I like to listen to this album in the real
Sometimes
world.
It's cool.
Sometimes it's a miss. It'd be like that.
Sometimes it's a fucking disaster.
I like it.
Dylan is like this because he's currently doing something that has been forced upon him, which is listening to the entire Love Live discography.
Oh, I see.
He's currently working through the third generation of Love Live, and
that's actually
I just like to hear the voice, like the characters sing. I like to hear the voice actresses.
I'm a sucker for VA singing, bro.
It just like, because like you instantly feel like a little more attached to them because they're obviously the character. So it's like, hey, look, this is fun.
Like one of my favorite OPs this season. I fucking love Do It Yourselves OP, bro. Oh my god. I fucking love that OP. Jesus Christ. I'm like, bro, this is so cool.
Cute, bro. Oh my god.
I'm like, this is what I'm here for. Yes. More.
That is like really infectious, bro. You just like not smile when you like when you watch that show or that opening. But this is really cool to me because like you said, like I also like have like a really like strong appreciation for like music in anime,
Mhm.
and especially like in music like based anime, like a show like this, Bocchi the Rock. Like obviously like music is a pretty like irreplaceable part of the show, and like this is like a show where like it warrants like a full like album because like the band is writing their own music, they're performing their own music, like they do all the openings and the endings, which good on them, because honestly like if you do like a show about a band and you don't have them do the openings and the endings, then you are doing something very wrong. You're missing a big opportunity there, but thankfully like the show did not miss that opportunity at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's like a little like cute like advertising video to go along with it. It's just like the show clips and the voice actors giving their piece like thank you. Yeah.
アニメ「ボッチ・ザ・ロック」をご覧の皆様、せーの、結束バンドです。この度私たちのアルバムが12月28日に発売することが決まりました。アルバムタイトルはその名も結束バンド。そのまんま最高、わかりやすいですね。じゃあボッチちゃん、最後に一言。皆さん買ってください。
It really be like that sometimes.
Yeah. We have like some of the songs that we're going to have. Like we know we're going to have the opening. There are currently 2 endings, and there is the one insert song that we got in episode 5. So we'll have 9 additional songs along with that, and we might get some of them like in the later episodes as well.
Yeah,
so,
I assume there'll be at least a few more from the
yeah
in the actual episodes, but it'll be cool to also hear stuff that is outside of that.
Yeah, so something that this ties into that I wanted to talk about that I think is like really really cool about like anime in like today's day and age is that I think it's like super dope whenever like anime like has social media activity that complements the show like when it's airing. And like this is something that you can only like really experience like in the moment, because like like most anime like have like their own like Twitter accounts, like this one that we have this post on. This is like the official like Bocchi the Rock anime Twitter. And whenever like these like accounts are like super involved with the show, when it's airing, it like adds like an extra layer of like enjoyment and like making the work like feel alive, because like by all means like a group like Bocchi, like in Bocchi the Rock, like could exist in real life,
Yeah. And I think that's super important for a show like this, because like if you know anything about being a performer, social is a huge part of it. A huge part of it.
They make a point of that in the show too. Like they just talk about like making their own social media pages, and like this is essentially like what they were talking about like in the show, and a couple of things that they've done to like really like highlight what I'm trying to talk about. So like for one, they released the songs that they play like in the show like almost directly like after the episode that you hear them in. So like for instance, like that the insert song that we heard in episode 5, it was released like directly after the episode aired. I'm like, that's super cool, because like when you watch that episode and you hear that song, you're like, man, that song is like super sick. I really want to listen to the full version. Well, thankfully, it's out right after the episode, and you can listen to the full version of it. And another thing that they've done, so in that same episode, the one with the performance, Kita, the one with the red hair, like took a selfie of the entire group, and they actually posted that selfie on this account. You might need to like dig through like the media section in order to like find it, but it's like it's like really cool, because like she took the selfie
on social.
It took the selfie in the show, and then they posted it after the episode as like a little like thank you, and like this is the thing that we took. And it's that level of like social like engagement that I think is like really special, and like it is only something that you can experience like when the show is airing, because after the show is like finished, like these accounts like kind of like go dormant, or like just like focus on that one.
Esostagram.
Esostagram. You can probably tell what that is, but that's the picture, and like that's the account that they operate.
Isostagram.
Okay.
But after a show is finished, like usually these accounts go dormant or just focus mainly on advertising stuff. So like whenever like Blu-rays are released or whenever like shows like do like reruns or whenever there's like rebroadcasting, that's really like what these accounts are like dedicated for after the show is done airing. But when it is still going on and you do cool things like this, like good on you. Like it's really fun to like be like a part of that, Another show that did this like recently was like Licorice Recoil. So like the cafe itself like had its own like Twitter account, which would give you like updates like on the cafe, and it would also like keep up like with the events like in the show. So like at some point in the show, like the cafe is like saying it's gonna close, and after the episode they posted like the closing notice, like as if it was like a real cafe. I'm just like, bro, that's so cool and so meta.
Layers.
And layers. So like whenever something like this happens, like it just makes me enjoy the show even more. And I already enjoy Bocchi like immensely. Like we know this. I talk about the show pretty much every cast after it started airing. I'm just like, oh man. But yeah, I can't wait to like listen to that full album too when it plays out.
No, that'll be cool. Definitely. Okay. Next up, we got YOASOBI performs at Gundam Factory Yokohama. So I mean, this place is pretty ham, bro. Like,
so
it's pretty insane.
I don't know if we can play it here.
Holy
the live Gundam is pretty cool.
Shit is insane, bro. Holy shit.
So like a little background on what this is. So this was like performed. First of all, like YOASOBI like is like the performer of the opening of the current airing Gundam series. So Gundam like Witch from Mercury. The song is a banger, and like we love like YOASOBI around here. Like they are like a dope like duo, and I don't think they've made a bad song. Like I'll just say it outright. Like
there you go.
There you go. I don't think they've ever missed. They're like one of those groups where I would just like listen to their entire repertoire without any skipping.
Yep.
And so like they performed live at Gundam Factory Yokohama, which is an entertainment complex that was built in to commemorate the 40th anniversary of the Gundam franchise, which was back in 2020. But obviously, 2020 did not exist.
Yeah,
and
that's not a year,
the opening of this attraction was like pushed back to like 2021, and now is going to like continue on until I believe like March of 2023.
Oh, okay.
So they like it's a limited time thing. So like they extended the access to it because obviously pandemic fucked everything
This
over.
is such a cool picture, bro. Like this is such a cool picture. Like
the Gundam actually moves and everything.
Yeah, I know. That's the crazy part. Like holy shit. The video is the actual performance, yeah.
And we can watch it, but we might have to like mute the audio or something. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what YouTube is gonna do to this, but it is what it is. Hold on. Whoa, Kobayashi, please.
遥か遠くに浮かぶ星を思い眠りにつく君の選ぶ未来が望む道がどこへ続いていても共に生きるからずっと昔の記憶連れられてきたこの星で君は願い続けてた遠くできらめく景色に飛び込むことができたのなら一人孤独な世界で祈り願う夢を描き未来を見る逃げ出すよりも進むことを君が選んだのなら誰かが描いたじゃなくて誰かが選んだステージじゃなくて僕たちが作ってくストーリーいつかその胸に秘めた刃が鎖を断ち切るまでずっと共に戦うよ
Fucking Gundam.
I showed this to Miguel. And I think he asked like, "Do you think anybody is like in that Gundam operating?" And I'm like, I'm like, that would be cool, but like it's probably remote operated.
Big safety liability, brother.
It's funny thing to think about.
These two are fucking awesome. Well,
I know music is like an extremely like rigorous like industry, but like these two have like literally like never missed it.
I was talking about how it's funny that these two are both successful individually. So they're probably just like, hey, what if we just like decide to be based together? It's like that works,
I
right?
like that.
Love to see it.
He compliments.
Well, it wasn't
Yeah,
the full
yeah,
performance,
it's
but,
Twitter
like,
video limit, but it's fine. Yeah.
I don't even think that the full video is like available on YouTube. But I
Published,
just
yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm lucky. I caught this tweet when it appeared.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
I fuck with
I think
stuff like that.
it's like I think this is like super cool. Like we love YOASOBI. Like I think like the love for like Gundam like in this attraction was like obviously like very evident. And if you like Gundam, you might want to get your ass over before it closes.
Facts. Running out of time. All right, next. This one was a pretty big one. So this is like an announcement that kind of breached, it kind of breached normie culture, for lack of a better word. Like I got a lot of people that immediately messaged me whenever this guy dropped. So
Oh yeah.
Studio Ghibli is
right.
doing a project with Lucasfilms, which is like pretty interesting. Because Lucasfilms, of course, one of the biggest filmmakers in the States. Ghibli is just like anime film. You can't really think about anime films without thinking about Ghibli in some ways. So it's like pretty.
We've talked about a lot of like culturally like significant things on this cast in particular, but like when we just say that like Ghibli is collaborating with like Lucasfilms, like I you have to like really understand like the gravity of that.
It's actually like pretty fucking insane that this is a thing. Like it's and also like fitting, right? Because I think that Ghibli style like it kind of lends itself to stuff that's similar to Star Wars in some ways, I would say, when it comes to designs in fantasy settings and whatnot. So I think that's really fucking cool. Like I wasn't really sure what it was gonna be when it came out, like because we were talking and we thought it was gonna be Star Wars Visions, right?
Yeah, just to like paint the picture of like what's been going on in a few days regarding this. So like there was like an initial like teaser announcement from like the official Ghibli account that just like flashed their logo and the Lucasfilm logo like directly before, which obviously hints that they're collaborating on something, and everybody immediately went to Star Wars Visions, which if you don't know what Star Wars Visions is, it was like an anthology series between a few anime studios to make like I believe
I want to
around
say
10.
I think it was
9 episodes.
Yeah, something like that.
9 like short episodes related to the Star Wars franchise, and there are some like big names in that, like Trigger did 2 episodes of that,
Kinema
and like
did an
those are
episode.
probably Kinema did I think they did 2 as well.
Okay.
And we love those 2 studios, and a lot of people like talk about like the Trigger ones in particular as being like not only like very like representative of Star Wars, but also like keeping like their unique flair that they're known for,
Yeah.
And a lot of people thought
Good.
a lot of people thought that this was going to be like a grand expansion of Star Wars Visions, because man, like if I imagined like Ghibli doing something, a project like that, I was just like, wow, bro, that's crazy.
I would be here for it.
Yeah, but it was announced, I believe, a few days ago that this was going to be like an animated like short. I don't know if it's going to be like a full series or whatnot, or if it's just going to be like one short. But I believe it's actually like released on Disney Plus. If you have that.
Oh, is it out already? Like okay.
To my knowledge, it is. So this is like this is the English version. So yeah, tomorrow would have been
so
the
2 days
12th.
ago.
So I have not seen it. Maybe I'll get around to it. But this is like a Star Wars like inspired like animation collaborative effort between like two studios who are culturally significant in their own like spaces of film.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like honestly, like Ghibli is they don't like do stuff like super often either, right? That's like the thing that like they kind of come out of nowhere when they decide to do stuff. And like I can't remember the last time I skipped something that they did either. So it's like it's just like when they do something, like people are put on alert. When it comes to anime, like if Ghibli's doing something, I think everybody is gonna have their eyes on it for sure. Definitely when I check it out. I don't know how long the short is, but
I imagine it'd probably be like a short is usually like, I don't know, 15, 17 minutes. Which would be honestly like equivalent to like a Star Wars Vision episode.
That's true. That's true.
So like if you want to, you can think of this as like part of like that anthology. Even if it's like not officially, but like adding Ghibli to like the list of studios that have like worked on Star Wars like anime projects is like a big deal, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's like super cool.
Yeah.
I think I'll check that out eventually. And then the last story on our list, I actually added this while the show was going on because this is actually an expansion on something we talked about in last episode. And so we talked about the controversy behind Takahiro Sakurai and everything that's going on with his relationship with his wife and whatnot. And so one of the questions that we asked was, how much do we think it's going to affect his gigs and his jobs and his potential career future. And so like this just came out today where it looks like he was planning on doing a Jujutsu Kaisen event and it doesn't look like he's going anymore. Like that's
it's probably it's probably good for both parties.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at this. Like I think if I were him, like I would try to avoid like public appearances for a little bit.
Yeah, definitely gotta let the heat dissipate.
Yeah, the outlash would just be like too much. I feel like people would actually like be very like hateful that he would actually be in danger, that type of thing. Yeah.
There's also like a hiding behind your like voice aspect type of thing, where it's kind of like if he's working right and just kind of like doing his voice acting, it's like you don't see him. It's like a lot of people don't even really know exactly who he is because we know that a lot of people don't know all the voice actors. So it's just like, okay, Takahiro Sakurai, very prolific voice actor. He is a part of a lot of things you have seen, but you might not even know if you're like a whatever level of anime fan.
Yeah,
just casual watcher.
But if you've heard the name before and then this guy's at an event, it's like, wait a minute, that guy's a douche.
I did not because he only voices someone in the movie, right? Is he
for what?
In JJK.
Jujutsu Kaisen?
Oh, Jujutsu Kaisen?
Yeah. Is he someone in the main series too? I actually don't know.
I don't think so.
Okay. I think he is actually.
Okay.
I'll check.
It's been a while since I watched JJK, so it escapes me. But I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know. If it's movie only, then I don't know what's going on.
I will never.
Gojo, right?
No, he's not Gojo.
He's Geto.
Gojo is Yuichi Nakamura.
I don't remember this guy. Like I'm looking.
Oh, he's Geto. He's Geto, the main like villain guy.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's
the mastermind guy. Yeah. That makes sense. But yeah, I mean, I think definitely this is a pretty good decision just because I mean people at events can get pretty unruly as well, and like you'd hate for something to happen regardless. Like people definitely act with their emotions.
Yeah, just like ultimately this does not affect like his like actual profession. Like it's like
just chill at home, what I'm saying? Like just kind of do your own thing. It just like that.
This kind of reflects like what we thought was going to happen. Like we said that like he will probably like continue to like work, but you might see him a little less at some things, especially like when it comes to public appearances. I feel like for the sake of both parties, like he should probably like keep on to the down low, on those.
Yeah, I mean, this is like honestly like not a super huge deal, but I just thought it was interesting because we definitely talked about this last episode. It's like this is kind of just an extension of what we're talking about. But yeah, let's like I don't know, man. It just feels like there's a lot of news lately. In general.
There's a ton of other random stuff too. There's like a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, like we could talk about Makoto Shinkai making bank down there.
Oh
in the
yeah,
corner,
I mean,
but-
brother. Who would have thought, brother? Who would have thought?
It's like so weird to me that like Makoto Shinkai is getting closer and closer to becoming like a household name
Uh-huh.
as like someone who's like known about his movies for like over a decade. It's just like, dang, this is weird. Like your name really did something, huh?
Yeah, like live action adaptation. Like that.
Live action? No, bro. It's really gonna do something.
Yeah, I might not like the outcome. You know, it just what it is. But I mean, like this to me isn't surprising. Honestly.
Yeah, it's not surprising.
That's I looked at the headline. I was like, yeah.
It just feels like anime movies nowadays just make more and more money.
It's crazy. Yeah, no, it's insane, and
I
they
think it's just,
definitely
like-
realize it.
I think part of it is like pretty low commitment to watch like a lot of like anime movies. It's kind of like I know it's like an hour and a half, I guess, but like you know, it's just like a one-time thing.
Yeah.
And like your name is like so easily digestible, and it's like a pleasant experience watching it.
Yeah.
So it's like if you could just do that 3 times, like that works.
Yeah, if Makoto Shinkai's experiences are anything, they are like top tier, like cinematic experiences, and something that you would probably just want to be in a theater in, as opposed to like watching it in your own home, type of movie. So you know, people got to see it when it's in theaters, and it results in like these hefty payouts. You know.
Yeah. Actually, fucking to be completely honest. Also, this nonsense this weekend like completely fucked my fucking viewing schedule. Like, come on, brother, it's actually insane. So behind.
Oh my god.
No, we're doing viewing tomorrow.
I'm definitely behind. I need to catch up on a lot.
This weekend just.
Okay, Bobby, we have tomorrow.
I'd be like,
Yo, Dylan, I'm gonna put you on blast. It says you plan to re-Tokyo.
I just saw that too, bro.
Oh my god.
What can I say, Miguel? I'm a messy bitch that lives for drama.
He's like, I gotta see what this is all about. And Bobby's reaction to what was the Pop Team Epic that he like
Yo,
something about
that episode was godlike. Have you seen it?
No, I
No,
haven't.
the Bocchi episode. The Bocchi episode was OD with its references.
Alright, but
Oh
that's
my
just
God.
Bocchi being good. Alright? Pop Team Epic is revolutionary.
Dude, what a week, bro.
Oh my god, bro. Actually,
Bocchi's new episode was pretty sick though. I think I found my new favorite character from that show.
there you go.
For
All right, well, that's pretty much all we have for you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for tuning in to the latest episode. Once again, to check us out on Twitter and on YouTube as well. These videos have been doing quite well lately, so we appreciate the support. And probably be another 2 weeks. I mean, we're getting into some holiday territory. So things might get a little.
Oh yeah, that might be weird.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that, but we'll sure to let you guys know when the time comes. Until next time, you guys have a great night. We'll see you in the next one. Right? Have a good one.